हेलो 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 अरे हेलो 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 వస్తుంది
మార్నింగ్ దట్స్ వై
అక్కడ పెట్టాను పెట్టాను జస్ట్ ఇక్కడ పెట్టే కదా
gentlemen, and distinguished guests. It is my great pleasure to welcome you all to the third IEEE International Conference on Artificial Intelligence and Signal Processing. We are honored to have some of the brightest minds in AI and signal processing gathered here today. AI has transformed the way we work and live, and this conference provides a unique opportunity for researchers, practitioners, and experts to share their knowledge and insights. Signal processing is also critical to the development of advanced technologies, and when combined with AI, we can create innovative solutions that can transform the world. Over the next few days, renowned experts will share their research and its real-world applications. On behalf of the organizing committee, I would like to express my sincere gratitude to all of you for your participation in this conference and wish you all an enjoyable time here. Thank you. So, let's begin with a welcome address for which I would like to call Dr. Bappaditya Roy, our General Chair for this year's conference, to the dais.
Thank you, Harshita. Very good morning to all dignitaries, guests, delegates, our faculty member, research scholar, and students, and good morning all across the world. So I welcome our chief guest in the stage, Mr. Sridhar Kajaraju in the stage. Please, sir. Next, I welcome guest of honor, Dr. U. Chandrasekhar sir, in the guest. Now I request to come our Vice Chancellor sir, Dr. AISP Kotareddy sir, on the stage. Now I request to our Registrar sir, Dr. Jagadish Mudagandi sir, on the stage. Now I request our Departmental Dean, Dr. Umakanta Nanda sir, on the stage. Also I welcome IEEE Hyderabad Section Chair, Dr. Atul Negi sir, on the stage. And I also request to our academic research, Dr. Ravinder Dhuli sir. Now, on behalf of AISP Organization Committee, it gives me a great pleasure and honor to extend to you all a very warm welcome the third International Conference Artificial Intelligence and Signal Processing. I wish to take this opportunity to welcome the participants and different countries. I also wish to welcome all. Once again, one welcome to the guests, dignitaries, and all the participants. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Roy. Now, to inaugurate the conference, I would like to invite the dignitaries for the lighting of the lamp. The Saraswati Bandhana will be performed by Monisha Kalala. I would also like to call Deepak sir to the stage. Yakundendu tusharahara dhavala ya shubhravastranvita ya veena varadandamandita ya Padmasana Ya Brahmachyuta Shankara Prabhriti Vehi Devai Sada Pujita Saman Patu Saraswati Bhagavati Nisleshajadyapah Saman Thank you so much for that beautiful performance, Manisha. I would now like to invite Dr. Deepak Kumar Panda, an accomplished researcher in the field of electronics and communication engineering and a general chair for this year's conference, to give us an intro into artificial intelligence and signal processing.
So, respected Vice Chancellor Sir, Chief Guest, Guest of Honors, and all the dignitaries, all the participants from all over the world. On behalf of AISP 23 team, I welcome you all to this 3-day international conference on artificial intelligence and signal processing. So, this year, artificial intelligence and signal processing, this is the third international conference we are organizing this year, and our institute is organizing this third time in a row in collaboration with IEEE Guntur subsection and technically sponsored by IEEE Hyderabad section. So this year conference is very tough one for all the participants over the world. So this year we have received a huge response from all over the world. We have received around 5-10 papers throughout last 1 year. So our last date of paper acceptance is on December. So due to a lot of requests from the authors, we have extended up to December. So out of 550 papers, we have selected only 30% of that as per the IEEE policy. We have selected only 158 paper when we have, after peer review of 3 blind revisions, we have sent 158 acceptance. So out of 158 papers, we have received 127 registration who are going to present in the next 3 days of the conference. So this is the first time we are getting lot of papers, and out of 500 we only accept 127 paper. So this is the big number, that's why I congratulate all our team members, and I also thanks our Chancellor Sir and Vice Chancellor Sir for giving us this opportunity, and also Registrar Sir for giving us constant support for organizing this conference. So this year we also organized 7 keynote speeches from different countries of the world and 1 industrial talk, and also we have organized 1 workshop from Hitachi persons, right, on the domain of artificial intelligence and signal processing. I hope this conference will be fruitful in the next 3 years, and you will gain lot of knowledge and make lot of connection among each other. So thank you everyone.
Thank you for that, sir. I would now like to proceed with the revealing of the souvenir. I request all the dignitaries to open the souvenirs you have on your tables.
I welcome IEEE Guntur section Srinivasa Sman on the stage.
I would now like to call upon Dr. E. Srinivas Reddy, the IEEE Chair for the Guntur subsection, to address the gathering.
Very good morning, and I'm sorry coming for the late. So first of all, I thank the management and everybody who has involved in conducting this IEEE International Conference on Artificial and Signal Processing. So all of you know, in this era, there are drastic changes in the field of computer science. So whatever may be, whether it is artificial intelligence or machine learning or deep learning or IoT or big data, whatever may be, there are many changes that came and lot of applications, lot of apps. Recently ChatGPT also, all of you know. I think you are also aware that ChatGPT has written the successfully NEET PG examination also. It has qualified. Most of the total 1,80,000 students has written the NEET PG exam. Only 50% of the students has qualified. But ChatGPT has successfully qualified that examination. So that is the power of AI. But unfortunately, the applications of these advanced technologies are reaching only elite class. No application is reaching the rural areas and also poor people. Today there are a lot of problems in the rural areas and a lot of problems for the poor people to be addressed. Our country is mainly suffering with this problem. Whatever the applications today, whatever the apps developed today are only useful for the wealthy people or elite class. So why you the youngsters, you have a lot of power, lot of energy and lot of intelligence. Why are not focusing on that side? Why are not focusing on the rural areas? Why are not focusing on the problems faced by the poor people? Do you anybody heard about the Mitti Cool? Mitti Cool is the cheapest refrigerator developed by a rickshawala in Uttar Pradesh. The cheapest refrigerator. He has developed with the help of mud and sand. It has become a popular refrigerator nowadays used by the poor people. And similarly, many innovations has came from the uneducated people, which are used by today in rural areas and poor people. So our energy, our knowledge, our intelligence must be useful for the country and especially for the rural areas and the poor people. Then only the development of the country, the real development of the country lies in the villages only. All of you know Gandhi said. So I beg and I request all the youngsters who have a lot of intelligence and a lot of knowledge and a lot of strength, please see their side and focus there and address the problems. You have that knowledge, I know, you can address these problems. But only thing is, we are focusing on the problems which are useful for only elite people. The real essence of the knowledge must be addressing the country's development. Country's development lies only in the villages. If you develop the villages, the farmer, if you support the farmer, definitely countries go beyond the day. తెలుగులో చెప్పాలంటే నేను పుట్టినప్పటి నుంచి భారతదేశం అభివృద్ధి చెందుతున్న దేశమే. నేను చచ్చిపోయిన తర్వాత కూడా అదే మాట వస్తుంది. భారతదేశం అభివృద్ధి చెందుతున్న దేశం. ఎప్పటికీ అభివృద్ధి చెందిన దేశం అవుతుంది అమెరికా లాగా? చెప్పండి, మీరు ఇక్కడ ఉన్నారు కుర్రాళ్ళందరూ కూడా, ఎప్పటికీ ఇది అభివృద్ధి చెందిన దేశం అవుతుంది? You all are running to the foreign countries. Whatever the reason, I don't want to spell the reasons. You are all running away from these countries. Brain drain is happening in the only in the our country. మీలాంటి మేధావులు, మీలాంటి యువకులు, మీలాంటి శక్తిమంతులు అందరూ కూడా విదేశాలకు పారిపోతూ ఉంటే ఎప్పటికీ ఈ దేశం అభివృద్ధి చెందుతున్న దేశం. అంటే కొద్దిగా బాధగా ఉండొచ్చు, బట్ ఐ బెగ్ యూ, ప్లీజ్ సీ దట్ సైడ్. థ్యాంక్ యూ ఫర్ గివింగ్ దిస్ ఆపర్చునిటీ.
Thank you so much for those words of wisdom, Dr. Reddy. I'm sure there's something we all can take from that speech. Up next, I would like to invite Dr. Atul Negi, the chair of the Hyderabad section, to come forward and address the gathering.
Namaste, good morning. Respected Vice Chancellor, Dr. S.P. Kodareddy, Chief Guest, Mr. Sridhar Kostaju, the General Chairs and the faculty, professors, Professor Chavan and all the other professors and deans in here, the IEEE members, IEEE student members. Okay, so Dr. The chair of the Guntur subsection, Dr. Srinivas Reddy, and all the IEEE members and all the delegates, those who are attending in person and online. So I'm privileged to be here and very happy to see this VIT-AP conference, that is International Conference on Artificial Intelligence and Signal Processing. My role with this conference is not just today, because from Hyderabad section I have been part of the conference committee, and we are according technical course sponsorship, which is a very big responsibility because IEEE has to protect its brand name, the IEEE conference brand name, because as the custodian of technical quality and knowledge. And I can tell you that giving the technical course sponsorship and seeing that a conference like this happens is not an easy task. And it's a good job which has been done for the past few years, which I hope will continue by the VIT-AP in organizing this technical conference and ensuring that quality is maintained. Okay, that is the main thing. I don't want to cite that here, but there were a few examples. There was an example where the quality could not be maintained, and therefore, by review at the IEEE quality body, that conference did not succeed. Okay, so please don't. If you see that a conference is happening, it's because a few set of people have dedicatedly put their attention on that. Okay, and technical quality is a very important thing for IEEE. Okay, and as it was said regarding the percentage of acceptance. Okay, so see, in a conference we cannot dictate, IEEE as such cannot dictate a percentage of acceptance. The program committee takes a call based upon the number of papers they can actually present in the days which is available for the conference. Okay, so but I appreciate the quality preference which they have, as IEEE is keeping quality as the bar, not anything else, right? So and that is really the good thing of this conference, that we have kept up the technical quality. From IEEE perspective, what I would like to say is that the proceedings here is looking to be very good. The range of topics and subjects which is taken up and being presented, I just had a quick glance through the Somnium so that I have some idea of what kind of things is taking place. So I think this conference is going to be very good. It is going to be at the cutting edge of or exploring the new knowledge which will be there, and I hope that keynotes, the talks and the presentations by the authors themselves will be keenly listened to by the, I see a lot of young audience here, and they will be able to absorb something from that and come up with something of their own, and maybe they will, this conference will help them to learn something which can put them on to the path of research, innovation, and such things. Okay, so once again I thank the VIT-AP for giving me this opportunity. My best wishes for the rest of the conference. Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you so much for those wonderful insights. We are honored to have with us today Dr. Ravinder Dooley, the Dean of Academic Research, and I request him to come up and address the gathering.
Good morning, Brenda. So it's pride for us from the School of Electronics Engineering. I'm talking two capacities. One as the Dean of Academic Research, and other thing as a faculty member of School of Electronics Engineering. So organizing, as just mentioned, organizing a conference, particularly with an IEEE brand, and getting the proceedings in IEEE Explore is not so simple actually, because as mentioned, there are conferences which will try to tie up, which will initially get that emblem, but at the end of the day they will not be able to succeed in getting the proceedings in IEEE because there will be many filters. So particularly we should congratulate the team. So it was initiated from the School of Advanced Sciences, AISP. Later it moved to electronics. The initiation was given by Dr. Deepak Panda. So he came forward to take over. Next, so that was done in the last year, and they are very, very enthusiastic to continue. And the new team, Dr. Bapai Charai, who is very enthusiastic from the School of Electronics Engineering, they made it possible. So whatever we are seeing here is only a fraction, like tip of the iceberg, but actually behind the screen lot of work actually. Particularly organizing workshop, organizing FDP is entirely different from organizing a conference. That too an international conference bearing the name of the brand name of IEEE. Very strict, the standards of IEEE particularly it is very difficult to meet, and we should thank from this dais the cooperation extended by the Guntur section IEEE and the Hyderabad section IEEE, who are continuously supporting for materializing what we are dreaming of. So we will continue with this AISP for the years to come. At this point, I would like to place on record the wonderful support from our Vice Chancellor, sir. Every point, starting from the initiation to thought initiation, he gave step-by-step guidance, and he also gave clear instructions what we should target, what should be the quality we should meet, and whom we should attract. Everywhere he is very particular. Even he is very particular about starting the student chapter here, bringing the brand IEEE to the entire university. He also supported the faculty members to have more memberships, and we are also proud to have senior members, IEEE senior members here. It's not an easy thing, and we hope in coming days we will have IEEE fellows also here in VIT-AP University. We dream it, and at this point I would also like to thank our registrar sir for providing all the support required for materializing the dreams, step-by-step guidance, everything. And of course it is not possible from the wonderful leadership from the Dean Sense, Dr. Umakant Nanda, who made it, who brought the people from different directions, and every faculty member from School of Electronics Engineering, they were involved deeply in not only reviewing. There's a big team, review team, meeting the technical standards, all these things. So you will be enjoying the sessions. The quality of papers is not just, see, because I should state here, because now every conference is international conference, people say, every conference is IEEE conference. But getting the paper accepted in this conference is really challenging, because many of the internal people papers were rejected. I would like to proudly say that the quality is very high. So you should remember that. So year by year, getting a paper accepted in this conference is becoming tough. So I congratulate all the accepted papers, and we have wonderful sessions. Highly technically competent and well-renowned people are going to address. Workshop is there. Please attend all the sessions and make the best use of it. Thank you all. Bye.
Thank you, Dr. Dooley. Now we will hear from Dr. Jagadish C. Mudiganti, a professor from the School of Electronics and Engineering and a registrar for VIT-AP University.
Dignitaries on the dais, delegates, faculty members, students, staff, a very good morning to all of you. It's a very happy moment to be part of this third edition of International Conference on Artificial Intelligence and Signal Processing. I still remember when we started in 2017, we had only 500 odd students and then some 40 odd faculty. In School of Electronics Engineering, we had only 5 faculty at that time. We started off, and then the students were also something around like 100 or odd. Now in electronics itself, School of Electronics Engineering itself, we have some 1,000 plus students and research scholars and 60 plus faculty. So it is a good progression that we are having, and in the first 2 versions of the conference we had probably 100 odd papers being submitted, and we have now, as Sir had told, 500 plus. It's a very great leap for this conference, and it is taking very good shape. And then we also saw in the very first 2 conferences that we had, previous versions, that a lot of participation was there from the undergraduate students who worked along with our faculty members. They were doing very active research, and I hope even in this conference as well, maybe the stats can be brought out by the end of the conference, that good participation. Like I have seen some of the papers, I could recognize some of our students. It's a very good thing that the undergraduate students are having that spirit of research inculcated at a very young age. It goes a long way in generating new knowledge, and then it also helps them understand the nuances of the various technologies that are coming up, and helps the faculty as well in continuing their research, because most of the time we are just 6 years old now, going to be 6 years old, and the faculty are engaged in a lot of administrative activities, also setting up of things. Starting a university is not an easy job. So, but we have come very great deal, like very long way we have come within these 6 years, thanks to the effort of our young faculty members. We also conduct a lot of workshops, 5-day workshops, and School of Electronics Engineering especially, I have to tell you, that has been doing tremendous work in enhancing the knowledge base. They are training the young researchers, and we have been continually doing that, and all of that is, I think, documented, and then it's there for the audience. We collaborate with many IITs, NITs, so a lot of collaborators, industry collaborators are also coming and then acting as resource persons. So VIT-AP is going to be on the forefront in knowledge generation and dissemination, and we like all the participants, all the delegates, external participants, to collaborate more with VIT-AP. Let us all make it happen, and as it was told by my previous speakers here, that we need to address the problems of the society as well, and then bring the technology, and it should not be only elitist or confined to the books, but it should really be visible on ground and then in our lives in India. With this, I wish all the people a very best, and then a great 3-day workshop conference. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Mudiganti. I now have the pleasure of introducing our esteemed guest of honor, Dr. U. Chandrasekhar from GMSIR Scientific Innovation and Research Center. Dr. Chandrasekhar is a researcher, technology development program leader, and administrator with 38 plus years of experience working with government R&D establishments, national engineering bodies, and a multinational company. I request Dr. Chandrasekhar to make his way to the dais.
Very good morning. The chief guest, Mr. Sridhar Kosraju, Honorable Vice Chancellor, Professor Kota Reddy, Professor Atul Negi, the Registrar, Dr. Jagadish, other guests who have assembled in this fantastic occasion, and delegates and the students. First of all, I would like to sincerely compliment the efforts of VIT-AP, the young sibling of the famed institutions like VIT Vellore, for conceptualization and conducting of this particular event with immense relevance to contemporary requirements both in the industrial context, strategic context, and also the context of societal missions. I was just glancing through the education segment of the Times of India yesterday, and my attention was riveted to one of the cover stories which gave a description of the VIT Vellore based startup organization called Barryflow Labs. I'll just talk for about a minute on what this particular startup in VIT Vellore is doing to amplify the importance of synergistic application of AI/ML techniques in tandem with digital signal processing. If you really see, because of the indifference both in the urban and semi-urban locations, the water bodies like ponds, lakes, estuaries, they get suffocated and they basically thrive on biodiversity, and if you don't nurture them, just like a human being, they just die off. So what this gentleman who founded the company called Barryflow Lab in VIT Vellore has done is, he has introduced lots of sensors connected with the temperature measurement, pH, salinity, oxidation reduction potential, and fundamentally with the help of the AI, he is able to develop a protocol by which you can introduce oxygen into the interface between the sediment and the water, and in the bargain contribute to the rejuvenation of the water body. So whenever you come across the phrases like signal processing or AI or deep learning technique, it's not a must that you are talking about a solution which is very, very esoteric in nature, connected with some automation companies or defense companies or aeronautical companies. It's becoming all-pervading. Just about a couple of weeks ago, Professor Amit Chavan and I had an occasion of listening firsthand to the story of a young engineer, electronics engineer called Adarsha, from a small location near Davangere in Bangalore, in Karnataka. He has set up a company called IU Devices, which fundamentally replaces your conventional stethoscope converts the conventional stethoscope into the digital stethoscope. If you are familiar with the operation of the stethoscope, it picks up the audio signals from your lungs and heart, and you will be amazed to know that there are 600 plus distinct audio signals which need to be understood by the physician before he can assess the cardio functionality or the lung functionality, which you generally call as the murmurs or the wheezing. So the invention of Adarsha has given rise to a system which combines signal processing in tandem with AI and ML and cloud computing, wherein some A&M in a village or a compounder in a small primary health center can also have the benefit of collecting the data and remote assessment by the cardiologist who sits in Apollo Diagnostic Center in Hyderabad or Bangalore. So this is the power of the digital technologies which have come up in the recent times and how they are getting empowered because of the infusion of the AI/ML techniques. And especially if you are talking about the context of biomedical or healthcare related applications, in the conventional times, the signals used to be generated by procedures like EEG, ECG. But if you see in the recent times, even in a small hospital, you can get a lot of signals connected with the healthcare condition from sources like CT scan, the magnetoresonance imaging, electromyogram, magnetocephalogram. And when you get so much of data, it is only imperative that you should make meaningful assessment based on the accrued data which is collected from multifarious sources. So in this regard, the biomedical signal processing in one particular domain, wherein the physicians are able to take very intelligent decisions based on the data which is collected, analyzed, and most importantly applied for a diagnostic protocol. So there are students from different departments who have assembled here. There are also faculty which is representing different fraternities in engineering. I just want to tell you that in recent COVID times, there was a big time emphasis on the availability of intensivists, and they were less in number. And I have seen how the concept of cloud physicians have come up in places like Bangalore, where experienced intensivists sit in the command centers, and the data from multiple health centers located across the country comes to them through the cloud, and they are able to make assessment of what exactly is the protocol which has to be enforced upon in the healthcare context. So if you really see, the application of signal processing in tandem with AI could be for optimizing the system performance, or sometimes it may be for intelligent filtering of the signals. In other occasions, maybe you want to dynamically adjust the outcome commensurate with the expectations of the environment. And because of this powerful delivery, you have got more and more contexts which are coming even from the core engineering, like solar plants. I am not sure how many of you know, it's not only the panels which you use in case of the solar power generation. In some cases you can make use of the Stirling engines. In some other cases you can use evacuated concentrated tube collectors. And in all these things, if you want to optimize the output generation from the solar plants, there are a lot of sensor infusion, there is a lot of emphasis in the data collection to maintain and ensure the upkeep of the plants in such a way that you always get the energy produced at the optimal level. And in the world of medical implants especially, wherein I had a chance to work very closely, the application of technologies like 3D printing or additive manufacturing are getting a big facelift in terms of enabling patient-specific, mass-customized implant design and development. And you can see at your spare time how small companies consisting of 2-3 young engineers from electronics or biotechnology or mechanical engineering background are getting the data from the CT and MRI scans and converting them into the CAD models, and with the help of AI algorithms, they are transforming this data into patient-specific implantation so that the recovery could be optimal. And you can see plethora of cases connected with the spinal surgeries, craniofacial, maxillofacial surgeries, orthopedic surgeries, wherein the suboptimal utilization of the off-the-shelf implants could impair the patients for many, many years. So the students from different streams who are coming out of the campuses are very keenly getting into this biomedical or healthcare related applications because of the power, because of the potential, because of the latitude which digital signal processing can produce in the context of the industry needs. I worked for many, many years in DRDO as a scientist with focus on the aeronautical systems, especially in the design and development of drones. I presume that there are a lot of people from the electronics background here. Whenever you are using the unmanned either ground vehicles or the robos, or for that matter aerial vehicles which you call as drones, and if you use them in the GPS deprived situations, it's only imperative that you need to map the environment, and the technology which in this case is used is called simultaneous localization mapping. Imagine that you leave a robo in this hall and you let it move through. With the help of this simultaneous localization mapping protocols, what does it do? It maps and also it understands what is the relative positioning of itself in the environment. So what I have seen, and there are very, very powerful sensors which are getting integrated into these mapping protocols like LADARs. I think you might have read about these things, and also the low cost, high resolution the digital cameras. And what I have seen in the recent times is, with the help of the LiDARs, you can even throw 4 lakh pulses per second, and you generate terabytes of data in the real time. Then when you have got humongous data that is getting generated, there is always a stress on the processing power and the memory requirements. And fundamentally, when you get this cloud of data consisting of millions of points, they don't have any meaning. They only indicate three-dimensional spatial positioning with reference to certain data. And what is happening now is, thanks to the infusion of AI and ML, the robots are able to understand what kind of a data is essential for mapping and what is the data which can be disregarded. And you can just understand, in the olden days, the protocols used to be dependent only on the probabilistic algorithms just to get the data corresponding to the maps. Now, there are students who are moving now, there are students who are coming in now, there are certain chairs, and if you really see the semantic understanding of all of these things, there are only certain criteria in the hall which are always fixed, which can be the reference points. There are people who can move, and there are furniture which stays stationary. And if you are able to provide intelligence into the system, you can understand how rich could be the mapping data with the infusion of AI and ML. And I just want to say that in the years to come, the synergistic application of all these technologies is going to be imperative in almost all the engineering sectors, and you will see more and more outcomes connected with conquering many problems which are not being solved. Could be with reference to the audio signals, video signals, speech to understandable language, translation, etc., etc. My attention was just diverted to the tagline of VIT-AP, Gnaname Unnati Ki Sopanam. So the interactions of this kind, wherein the faculty, experienced researchers and students come together on a unified platform, I have full conviction and gumption in believing that the interventions of this kind are extremely essential for transforming the teaching learning techniques into those procedures which can enhance the thinking. And when thinking is enhanced, it leads to knowledge, and knowledge makes powerful. Makes you all powerful. I sincerely believe that the conferences, seminars, and many interactions of this kind will be happening at more frequency in the years to come, and wish all of you become extremely powerful by virtue of the wisdom that you can accrue. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Chandrasekhar, for sharing your wisdom and experience with us here today. Up next, I am delighted to invite Dr. S.V. Kota Reddy, the Vice Chancellor for VIT-AP University, to come up and address the gathering.
Good morning, everyone. Chief guest, Sri Sridhar Vasaraj Garu, founder and CEO, Nimaisoft and President, IT Association of Andhra Pradesh. Guest of honor, Dr. U. Chandrasekhar Garu, CEO at GMSIR Scientific Innovation and Research Center. Dr. Atul Negi, IEEE Chair, Hyderabad. Dr. E. Srinivas Reddy, IEEE Guntur Subsection. Dr. Jagadish Chandra Mudiganti, Registrar VIT-AP University. Dr. Ravindra Duli, Dean Academic Research. Dr. Umakant Nanda, Dean School of Electronics Engineering. Dr. Bappaditya Roy, Dr. Deepak Kumar Panda, Deans, Directors, Faculty and Staff Members, Research Scholars, Students, and the delegates who are attending this conference online. A very good morning to each one of you, and it is with great pleasure I welcome you all to this third International Conference on Artificial Intelligence and Signal Processing 2023. Congratulations to School of Electronics Engineering to organize this international conference. This is the third international conference in series, and the first two conferences, due to pandemic, we could not organize in person, and this time the conference is being organized in blended mode. The online also is happening and then offline also. And now we are back to the offline conferences. The first offline conference are in blended mode in VIT-AP University. And why we are organizing these conferences? What is the main objective of organizing these conferences? First thing is to enhance the research output. We need to do various activities, and one of the activity is organizing the international conferences. And these conferences are providing a platform for sharing the research findings among the faculty members, research scholars and students, and industry personnel also, industry experts also. And because of this sharing of the knowledge, the new ideas will be generated, and these new ideas will be explored, and these new ideas will become another research and leads to patents and publications. Now, a lot of benefits are there in attending and participating in these conferences. And not only that, the young researchers, the research scholars will get great opportunity to enhance their writing skills and presentation skills. In the first year of the research work, they will struggle a lot to write papers. These conferences will provide opportunity for them to write the papers and present them in the conferences. And when you present, the ideas further evolve, and then you will become a perfect researcher years to come. Therefore, the VIT-AP University, we believe that this kind of conferences will definitely enhance our research output. And the other thing is like overall India also. Now we need a lot of publications. The universities have to play a big role in that, because in the publications in the entire world, though we are at 4th position, the number when we compare with USA and the China, we are very much lagging behind. For example, in 2020, the China published 6,44,000 papers, but whereas India published only 2 lakh papers, less than 2 lakhs. That means the gap is huge. Similarly, the case with USA also. Therefore, all the education institutions, universities in India should take this number up. Now, at VIT-AP University, we are also enhancing, we are trying our best to increase the publications. Now, that means if you are publishing, you are helping yourself, the university, the state, and then country. That way, it's a win-win situation for everyone. Therefore, the universities have to come forward to have this kind of conferences, and the lot of research activities, they should take it up. And coming back to this conference, now it's like the quality is really enhancing every year after year. It is enhancing, and this year is particularly only 30% of papers have been accepted, 70% have been rejected. Now this is a great the screening of the papers, and it has gone to so many reviews. The blind review also it happened, and therefore definitely there is no doubt on the quality of the papers. And the other side is that I am very happy to inform you that 7 different countries and 25 states of India, the delegates are participating in this conference. The 7 countries are China, Taiwan, Ethiopia, USA, Bangladesh, UK, and Dubai, UAE. Now these are the countries who are participating, the delegates are participating in this conference. And also there are 6 keynote speakers from reputed universities, including different countries like again USA, UK, Japan, Taiwan, Switzerland, and the keynote speakers are from these countries. And also there is one industry partner also for this conference apart from IEEE. The industry partner is Hitachi. Hitachi is going to organize one workshop also in this conference. It's a great significance. It's like a prominent conference, I should say, because the industry as well as academia, and that too the keynote speakers from various countries are participating. Therefore, it is one of the best conferences we are organizing. And coming to the VIT-AP University, other than School of Electronics Engineering, what we are doing in the research front, all 7 schools of VIT-AP University are organizing the international conferences, at least 1 per year. Now some schools are organizing more than 1 also. Okay, now, these conferences, as I mentioned, are giving the great opportunity for our the research scholars and the faculty members to publish their papers. And not only this, the joint conferences, international joint conferences with the international universities also we started. One of the first conference we organized 1 month back, that was with the Indiana School of Advanced Sciences organized a joint conference with Purdue University and Indiana University, Indianapolis. Now this was the one of the joint international conference. So now this conference is jointly organized with IEEE, and I am requesting all the deans of all the schools to collaborate with international universities. Then the visibility will increase, and not only that, we get more number of journals to have the collaboration with us, and therefore the more publications will come out in the Scopus Index journals. And I just wanted to tell you the numbers, how many publications our faculty members, research scholars and students have published. And as of now, since our inception 2017, our faculty members published, research scholars and students published 1,164 publications, and these are in the Scopus Index journals. And this number is really good for young university like us. And last year, in 2022 calendar year alone, we published 535 papers, and this year I think all the faculty members who are sitting and research scholars who are sitting here, they know what we are going to do. How many publications we are going to do this year? 1,000. Okay, now 1,000 publications are going to come up this year. All these papers should be in the Scopus Index journals. That's what actually the quality we talk. So then, apart from this, the innovation side also we are doing extremely good. And as of now, since our inception, we published 225 patents. This is again a record of for the young university like us. And this year alone, like in 2023, our target is to publish 150 patents. Now that is what, again, I am confident that with the great commitment and hard work of our faculty members, research scholars and students, we will be able to achieve this target. And if you see the overall ranking of our university, under emerging state private universities, okay, in the Outlook ranking in 2022, we are number 1 in the country. The reason is whatever I have explained. The publications we are number 1 in the country under emerging state universities, and patents also we are number 1 in the country under emerging state private universities. I am sure that this we will continue this trend to remain in the number 1 position in years to come. Again, with the great commitment and the hard work of our faculty members, research scholars and students, we will definitely remain on the top. Okay, then apart from this, we are establishing the centers of excellence in various areas, particularly in AI and robotics, artificial intelligence and IoT. And these centers, though we are giving funding, but we need support from the industries. Now therefore, we invited some of the prominent industries to be partnered as the knowledge partner for these centers of excellence. And I am happy to inform you that Intel Corporation came forward and then signed MOU with us. And similarly, the Boston IT Solutions also signed MOU with us. And we are about the complete the MOU with IBM also for these centers of excellence. And apart from this, we have the partnership with international universities also for these centers of excellence. Some of the names are like Binghamton University, then the Santa Clara University, then Swinburne University, Australia. Santa Clara University is in USA, then Binghamton University also is in USA. There are 2 US universities, one Australian university, are the knowledge partners for these centers of excellence. So then we have established the research advisory board also from the experts from these universities and industries. So then apart from this, there are several MOUs we signed with industries for various purposes. We have signed almost 40 MOUs, and the purpose of these MOUs or to for the placements, then internships, and then the joint research, and providing the guest faculty members to deliver the guest lectures in our university. Now, we are actually working towards to sign many more MOUs with industries, because the success of any university depends on how closely we work with industry. That is very, very important. So then I have been requesting all the faculty members, all deans, everyone, that we should bring more and more industry contacts or industry connections to the university. Definitely, we will be able to achieve our targets with the industry connectivity. And there are several achievements. Because of lack of time, I will conclude my speech. And before I conclude my speech, I would like to express my sincere gratitude to our chief guest, Mr. Shri Sridhar Kosaraj Garu. I met him in Visakhapatnam a couple of months back. Then I requested him to come to university, and I found very good occasion and then invited him, and immediately accepted our invitation. Thank you very much for coming here. And similarly, I would like to extend our sincere gratitude to our guest of honor, Dr. U. Chandrasekhar Garu. That he is our research advisory board member also, one of the research advisory board member. Thank you very much for coming here in spite of your busy schedule. Thank you. And similarly, other dignitaries also, I would like to thank them to take time out of their busy schedule to attend this conference. And our team, I should appreciate their efforts also, particularly the general chairs, Dr. Boppaditya Roy, Dr. Deepak Kumar Panda, conveners, Dr. Umakant Nanda, and Dr. Ravindra Duli for this conference. A big round of applause for all of them. I wish you all the very best. Make use of this conference and take the advantage of this, and get good publications in IEEE transactions. I wish you all the very best. Thank you.
Thank you for those words of insight, Dr. Reddy. It is now my honor to introduce our chief guest, Mr. Sridhar Kosaraju, the president of the IT Association of Andhra Pradesh. Mr. Kosaraju is a well-respected figure in the technology industry with over 27 years of experience and is the founder and the CEO of Nimaisoft. It is a privilege to have him here with us today, and now I invite Mr. Kosaraju to address the gathering.
Respected Vice Chancellor Kodareddy Garu, distinguished guests on the dais and off the dais, and other research scholars who are attending through virtual or physical mode, and faculty members, professors, and the students who are part of this conference. So very good morning to all of you, and it's my actually privilege, I'm really honored to be part of this particular conference, because I am from this region. So I'm born and brought up in this Amravati region, and born in this Guntur, and brought up in this region in these two districts. I really feel proud to be part of this occasion at this premier institute, premier university, VIT Amravati or VIT-AP, whatever you say, right? So coming to this signal processing, today's conference, actually I should congratulate the entire team, like who has made this very successful, and I wish you are going to have wonderful sessions coming 3 days and all. So before I talk a little bit on this signal processing related stuff, I would like to talk a minute or a half minute about the association which I represented. I represent the association called IT Association of Andhra Pradesh. I am the current state president of IT Association. It's a software companies association, of course, which includes IT, ITS and electronics also, but not exactly electronic manufacturing companies, but people who are working on the ITS domain. Like you might be knowing electronics from this region. So we have like almost 200 plus members across AP with 4 chapters. Like in all, where the IT hubs are there. like in Amravati, Kakinada, Rajahmundry. Of course, majority of the IT companies are located at Visakhapatnam. So we have 2 chapters exclusively in the Visakhapatnam itself. So wherever we have IT presence, where we represent and we interact with the government on the policies and all, like something similar to the NASSCOM at national level, we do similar stuff at the state level. So that is what my representation as a state president for the IT Association of Andhra Pradesh. So in fact, this conference is actually reminding my graduation days at Chennai. So DSP was one of my favorite subjects, though I was not a fan of mathematics that time. So I used to do 2 chapters I used to do with a lot of interest and all. One is Fourier series and Laplace transforms. These 2, I used to spend a lot of time and I used to have a lot of interest on those 2 topics. And those are only 2 topics where I used to put a lot of interest in the entire engineering mathematics. That time we never had what was the, practical use of those particular topics. We were just doing as a mathematics kind of thing. Now really when we are working with this deep learning practices right now in various case studies, particularly from our company, we could feel that impact of that particular thing, engineering mathematics, particularly those topics like Fourier series and Laplace transforms, as part of the signal processing with deep learning techniques or machine learning techniques. So really, it's a nostalgic experience kind of thing. So remembering 30 years back what we did and how we did it now. So coming to this signal processing with AI, I really feel, at least in my view, 70% of the AI, whatever is being done by people like in the corporate industry or in the academic research, in the AI domain, whether you name it as machine learning, deep learning, I feel 70% of it is connected directly or indirectly with the signal processing. But still, I wonder why this DSP, signal processing, is not part of the computer science engineering as a mandatory subject. We know signal processing is a subject of electrical and electronics, branches, circuit branches. But I see many universities it's only an optional subject. But the impact of signal processing is very much high in the domain of AI. Okay, everybody is now, as we know, everybody is crazy about AI ML. Yes sir, you touch any computer science student, they only talk about AI ML. They only learn anything towards it. Like people are crazy about Python and all. But if you just go inside and really, very few people are having a knowledge on the signal processing and anything signal processing related to the AI and all. If you look at the trends going on in the AI, 60-70% as I mentioned, and very insightful case studies mentioned by our guest of honor, Chandrasekhar ji. And I think people should have an opportunity to have more and more close discussion. I am not a scholar in the ML, at least in the signal processing domain, though I have an association with the electronics background, and though I work on AI ML, more I am representing in the industry, I'm more in the corporate company side, that is more on the IT application side. And there we use AI ML, DL and all, but not into the research segment. Actually, people should have more and more association with the Atul Negi and Chandrasekhar ji to have more and more insightful discussion, which will be very helpful for your paper submission and further research and all. So, in the signal processing, as I mentioned, like a majority of the AI applications indirectly, directly connected to signal processing. There are many domains where signal processing is used, in AI, but I see a lot of traction in the recent past of late. 3-4 domains which are already enlightened by our Chandrasekhar ji. The one biomedical engineering and sensor fusion, and the other domain, as you know, the cognitive computing. So this is one domain, as we all know, this Elon Musk neural link. We know the ChatGPT brought by him, the OpenAI, which is actually funded by this entire Elon Musk. And the neural link, where actually they work on BMIs and BCI, that is brain-computer interface mapping or machine interface mapping. So where they use this EEGs and all that stuff. So they are trying to bring connect this brains to the human brain to the machine-readable format, where they are converting the signals, whatever the neural signals. So they are connecting to this machine-readable format. So as you all might be knowing, so they are going to soon, the Neuralink is going to start their human clinical trials in the next couple of months. Already they are looking for FDA approval. I think it's not going to be more than 6 months they are going to work, because they've been working for a long time. They've been doing it on the animals, and now they're going to start human trials. So once they get the FDA approval, they're going to start. Though Okay, their focus now is more on the medical domain, more in the healthcare, like bringing vision to the people, blind people, and activating this particular nerves and muscles, particularly in the people like where the limbs are not active, where they are working on the medical and healthcare domains. But I believe future is going to be completely different, and once it is in place, soon we are going to have chips embedded into our brains. The days are not very far away. I think soon we are going to have that kind of, it's no more, it's a fictional story. Like we all know, did you ever like expect, this ChatGPT is going to be a revolutionary thing? Like it is in the beta stage. It was introduced to the industry only 3-4 months back. I think November and December it got introduced. Now it is still in the beta stage, and with 3.5, just now they announced and they introduced 4. Of course, now I think it is available only for the premium subscribers. Soon it is going to be available. Within 3-4 months span, what kind of revolution? I don't know how many people have really felt. I know the students have been using ChatGPT for their support in the examination and other kind of student career or student life. But actually it is helping the industry like anything at the beta stage. And that too only one particular vendor has come. Now everybody else, of course, Microsoft has put a lot of money, more than $1 billion in that. And even other companies, Google is coming up with the similar kind of thing. The future is not going to be the same. Yes, we all know AI has been there from a long time. It's been there for last at least 10 years. But the earlier AI was different. That was more something like analytical AI, reactive AI. What the AI we are seeing is completely different. Now the ChatGPT comes under the generative AI, where they generate the content. Not like a search engine where they extract the content and present it. Rather, they understand the content and generate a new content which is nowhere existing. That is what the generative AI. So the AI in future in the sense not after 10-20 years. Soon, like we are going to see the tremendous changes in the areas of like this generative AI or the signal processing related things. So I think future is not going to be same. Impact of AI is going to be very, very high in our lives in many domains. Like as I mentioned, like in signal processing, the traction what we have more as insights mentioned by Chandrasekhar ji on the biomedical engineering and sensor fusion, and the one which I mentioned, like for example, the other one which I am talking. So the wearables and biomedical, if you look at nowadays, like as we know, everybody is having that Fitbit, Apple watches and all, like that is analyzing the physiological parameters and showing heart rate, pulse rate and all. They have been there for a long time, at least from the last 4 or 5 years they have been there. But still accuracy at a few parameters. If you look at some devices, I don't remember exactly the company, some devices have come with the stress, measuring the stress also. But the accuracy levels at the particular stress measuring and all is not really up to the expectations and all because of the noise and signal processing and all. But the kind of the revolution, the kind of research going on in the sensor fusion and in other related fields, I think they are going to make a lot of changes in the very near future, and we are going to see completely a revolutionary thing in that particular area, medical area, particularly in the biomedical area. The other one, I think rightly mentioned by other speakers, like see, when it comes to the IoT, it's been there, even in agricultural fields, people are using IoT like anything. But if you look at till now, the most of the IoT, what is happening, more analytical and AI stuff is happening at the cloud, as mentioned by other speakers, but not really happening at the edge. But if you look at the recent trends of late, things are moving. The AI and analytical processing is going to be more done at the edge. And there the signal processing impact is very, very high on the edge level computing, taking the decisions at the edge level itself. I think these are of course, there are many domains. I'm just, with my knowledge, whatever I come across, I'm just trying to quote it. So these domains having a lot of traction in the recent past. So as I mentioned, like signal processing has got a lot of influence on the entire AI ML DL, and even the government of India is putting a lot of money on the research. As you know, recent budget they've announced like a couple of policies on AI. They're coming with Center of Excellences on AI exclusively. Of course, they are going to collaborate with the mostly IITs. So actually when we met Sri Rajiv Chandrasekhar ji, Minister for State on the IT, we requested actually this collaboration should be extended with the premier bodies, premier universities like VIT-AP and other. There are many universities, premier institutes and premier universities are there in India, because working only with the IITs, I think the scope is going to be limited. The kind of potential what we have in the AI and is enormous. I think the ecosystem need to be developed for this research and all. As Kotareddy Garu mentioned, The universities already have a tie-up with the big corporates and all. I think that need to be more and more collaborations need to happen between the industry and the academic research. So government is sponsoring, but still I think that also need to be increased. As we know, Kotaredigar mentioned, like the number of publications what we have in India, very less. Though recent trends, if you look at AI concentration, AI skill concentration is very high in India compared to any other country, but it is not, this is only a happy moment in one side, but the other side, so that there are a lot of lagging, there is a lot of lagging in this particularly AI research work. So as everybody know, the kind of GDP percentage that we are spending comparing with other countries, like US and China, they are spending almost 3% of the GDP only on the research, science and technology, where India is spending only, I believe it is only 0.6 or 0.7% of the GDP, it's being spent. But there is a phenomenal change in the mindset of the government of India, particularly if you look at the last 5 years, they increased a lot of funding, they are putting a lot of money on the research labs and all that, IITs and all. Like we expect that to be, I mean, the collaboration should go with the industry also. That ecosystem only can be developed when they start collaborating industry and academia and all. Because we still find, though universities like VIT and all, they're doing a phenomenal job, but still we see there is a lot of gap between the academia and the industry. And both are working in silos kind of thing. Like we need to get the models like which are being used in the Germany and other European countries. That kind of traction should be developed, and where the collaboration between the industry and academia should go up, then only we'll be able to reach the heights. As we know, India has the big advantage for the next 10-15 years, because India is the youngest workforce what we have among all the countries in the world. That 25 to 40 population what we have right now with India, that's a big advantage. But that advantage become useful and bring India into the top 2-3 spots in the economy. Now we are in the 5th place in the economy. So we are aspiring for 5 trillion economy in the very near future. But to aspire in the top 3 spots like China, US and then India, I think this particular, that youngest workforce phenomena is going to be useful properly, if properly used. In the sense, a lot of upskilling need to be done, because now if you look at the statistics, India is the IT leader for the world, as everybody knows. But if you look at 5 million workforce is working from India in the IT domain, but if you look at the statistics of Indian workforce and IT, only the 7% of that workforce, only 3 lakhs or 2 lakhs are really working on the core domains, deep tech domains like AI, ML and all. Remaining all working on the non-tech domains and the non-deep tech domains, I mean. Like 50% is working on the BPO, BPM and all. Those days are gone, and other countries are taking the advantage by offering a low-cost services. 2000 to 2020, if you look at the Indian IT sector, we were the low-cost destinations and all. Now Philippines, Bangladesh, many other countries are offering. So no more it is going to be a low-cost destination. India should be aspiring for the high-skilled work. So particularly in the domains like AI, ML, we have a lot of opportunities in that. I think universities like VIT and other universities play a vital role in upskilling by collaborating with the government, by collaborating with the corporate industries. Like as we know, there is a initiative from the UGC called Professor of Practice. In fact, last time when we met Kotaredigaru, we had a lot of discussion on the Professor of Practice. Though that concept-wise it has been there from long time, but really it's not really working well. We really need to bring the industry people like Chandrasekhar Garu. Within 20 minutes, within 5 minutes, he could actually give a lot of insights. So having somebody with the industry exposure and having an interaction with the students, scholars, then the insights will go up. So if you see, generally few students who are very bright students and bright scholars, they hesitate to talk, hesitate to attend the conferences, hesitate to attend meet the people and all. Let me tell you, the conferences like this or any other meetings where actually the knowledge exchange happens, actually that is going to bring a lot of insights for you. So I encourage and I recommend students, scholars and all to attend more and more conferences. Don't think that okay, we are wasting some time. We know like how much we spend on other social media and other activity. These kind of conferences actually will bring a lot of insights to you. Even if you get 2 points out of the 100 points discussed, and your life is going to be different. Don't hesitate to be part of it. So that's my short message to you. Right. So thank you, sir. Thank you for having me here, and wish you all the best. And I think this 3 days conference is going to have revolutionary discussions and research papers that are going to come out from this entire 3-day conference. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Kosaraju, for sharing your wisdom and expertise with us. Now I will request Dr. Kotta Reddy to facilitate Mr. Sridhar Kosaraju. Next, I would request Dr. Jagdish to facilitate Dr. Chandrasekhar. Next, Dr. Ravinder Dooley to felicitate Dr. E. Srinivas Reddy. I now request Dr. Umakanta Nanda to facilitate Dr. Atul Negi. Finally, we have the vote of thanks from Dr. Umakanta Nanda, the convener of this AISP 23 conference and the Dean for the School of Electronics Engineering here at VIT-AP University.
Very good morning to everyone. The dignitaries, Chief Guest Mr. Sridhar Kosaraju, Founder and CEO of Myself, President, IT Association of AP. Guest of Honor, Dr. U. Chandrasekhar, CEO at GM SIR Scientific Innovation and Research Center. Dr. Atul Negi, IEEE Chair, Hyderabad Section. Dr. E. Srinivas Reddy, IEEE Chair, Guntur Subsection. VC VIT-AP Professor S.B. Kotta Reddy Sir. Registrar VIT-AP Professor Jagdish Chandra Sir. Dean Academic Research Dr. Ravindra Dooley Sir. Organizing Chairs Dr. Deepak Panda, Dr. Vapaitha Roy. All the keynote speakers, guests, delegates, participants and dear colleagues, research scholars and other audience present here. On behalf of School of Electronics Engineering, I thank all of you for contributing your effort for this third IEEE International Conference on Artificial Intelligence and Signal Processing. First of all, I would like to thank the IEEE Guntur subsection for their continuous support to conduct this conference for the third time. Thanks to IEEE Hyderabad section also for their faith on us for arranging this event successfully. I would like to thank Mr. Sridhar Kosaraju sir and Dr. U. Chandrasekhar sir for accepting our invitation to be the chief guest in this inauguration session and their insightful thoughts and information presented here in the session. I appreciate the support of our SDC team for arranging the registration process in the initial part of the conference, CTS team for providing the IT support, PRO team for wide coverage of this event, purchase team for providing all the necessary things which were needed for this physical event to be conducted in our campus, finance section for dealing with all financial related work, HR team for providing the logistics for this conference to be happening, and all other sections who are directly or indirectly involved in this conference. Many thanks to our financial sponsors, SERV and SERV is Government of India agency and Global Degrees which encouraged us more for this conference to be arranged in a better way. I would like to appreciate the authors who have contributed their work to this conference and having belief on us that the quality review will be done and timely publication is also to be done for this conference. As we have done the quality review for the last time, this time also we have done, and the publication also will be very fast as our organizing team is working hard after the conference also. We are continuing this conference every year and do so in the future also. This is due to the continuous encouragement and belief that we have from our management, including our VC sir and registered sir. Whenever we requested for anything for this conference, our VC sir and registered sir approved the same immediately, which made our path easier for conducting this event. So many thanks to our VC sir and registered sir. Then last but not the least, I would like to wholeheartedly thank the organizers of this event, our faculty members, staff members, especially the organizing chairs, Dr. Deepak Kumar Panda and Dr. Bapaita Roy, who have worked tirelessly from 1 year. So we have applied for this conference in the last year in around April or May. And after that, since 1 year, we are doing very hard work, mainly our organizing chairs. So many thanks to the organizing chairs and all the organizers in all the sections and all the committees. With this, I will again thank all of you for your continuous support and cooperation. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Nanda. And with this, we come to the end of our inauguration ceremony. The students are requested to be seated for the keynote speaker. I request all the dignitaries to have a picture taken together.
Please settle down. We have a keynote speaker now. Good morning once again, and welcome to this year's conference AISP 2023, and wholeheartedly I welcome you all to this beautiful university, VIT-AP Amravati. We have just heard some inspiring words from our distinguished delegates, and I am thrilled to introduce our next keynote speaker for today, Dr. Atul Negi. So, Dr. Atul Negi is a professor at Computer and Information Sciences, University of Hyderabad, and previously worked as director at PIES Indore. He holds the PhD and MSc Engineering degree from University of Hyderabad and IISc Bangalore respectively. He graduated with distinction in Electronics and Communication Engineering from Osmania University, Hyderabad in the year 1986. He is a senior member of IEEE and serves as a chair for IEEE Hyderabad section. He served as Vice Chair Educational Activities of IEEE India Council during 2017 and 2018. And is presently the Vice Chair of Technical Activities. He is a technical committee member of IEEE SMC in Soft Computing Division. He has served as Chair of the IEEE Computer Society and Computational Intelligence Society chapters in IEEE Hyderabad section. He has authored more than 100 publications in peer-reviewed conferences and journals. He has also co-edited conference proceedings in Springer and IEEE as Program Chair as well. He is also a member of IAPR through Indian unit of IAPR. He is a fellow of the IEEE. He has successfully guided 11 doctoral dissertations while mentoring several others. He also has supervised more than 80 MTech dissertations as well. Presently, he is a mentor at the startup companies in business incubators at University of Hyderabad. He has been associated with industries and delivered technical lectures for the corporations such as CMC Limited Hyderabad, Motorola Hyderabad and CDAT Hyderabad. He was also awarded with IEEE Region 10 Outstanding Volunteer in the year 2020. Today, Dr. Atul Negi will be discussing the application of machine learning and artificial intelligence techniques in various domains in computer systems, including those networks and operating systems as well. He will be presenting techniques that can be applied to a variety of applications without requiring huge amount of data. That is, nowadays we need a huge amount of data for training our systems, and which is a refreshing change from the current trend of deep learning approaches. So with this, I would like to request Dr. Atul Negi to take over and start your presentation. Thank you very much.
Okay, I can maybe please start sitting the job, you only can take
Okay, I hope we are all settled down and I can commence my talk. So, this talk of mine is about how AI and ML systems are, how do we make or design AI and ML systems? That is basically what I would like you to look at and understand. This talk is more of a design from my own research work in the previous times, and it is like a case studies, a set of case studies of what we have done for AI and ML computing systems. Okay, and as has been said before, that I am from University of Hyderabad, which is the central university. University of Hyderabad has been having an MTech in AI from 1988 onwards. Okay, so our colleagues and faculty are having a lot of experience in AI, and it is one of the it's a very well-known postgraduate center for doing PhD and also for MTech in artificial intelligence. Okay, and of course we have a few other AI and CS branches. Our course is very flexible. People can take up AI and ML kind of things from any MTech branch which they join. In fact, we also have an integrated master's branch wherein after +2 people can join in and they can join for the computer science engineering. Okay. As you can see from the logo, I am from University of Hyderabad. Okay, next slide is. So, if you want to know more about what is in this talk, you can look at the IEEE Explore article, and you will be able to download and get all the entire contents of what this talk is about in that. Okay, there will be a bit of kind of a motivating introduction about AI and ML in this. Next slide, please. So first we have some introduction, some things about AI and how can I apply AI to systems, that is computer science systems which are doing signal and data processing. After which we talk about that application to human-computer interaction systems and applications, computing systems and applications to neural networks like that. Okay, next slide. So basically what we are saying is that that is the advancements in machine learning and AI are leading to better systems, and this kind of actually, is it possible I can use this mic? Okay, this speaks much better. It is closer to like what I do in the classroom also, that walking around and it helps in my thinking and talking. So what I am trying to say is that there are advancements which are in machine learning and AI which are leading to the better computer systems. Okay, so what I wish to say is that we can bring AI and machine learning into large number of systems. It helps the computer systems very much. Wherein the say you want to keep a approach into the operating system. Okay, and many of you must have studied the operating system as a subject. And when you study the operating system subject, nobody tells you that you can bring AI into the operating system. Okay, but in my research, I have worked on and I have brought AI into the operating systems. Okay, so like this, different types of systems, computing systems we are having, and have brought in the AI and machine learning kind of aspects into those systems. Okay, so why we should work like this? Okay, everybody say that, oh, I have deep learning. I have deep learning. I just, you give me the data and then I know I will learn with that and I can do so many kind of very interesting things. However, the problem with deep learning is that as it is expressed as the parameters. Okay, you have very large number of parameters. So those of you who know about ChatGPT and all, you would be knowing that it is having so many billion parameters and all that. For that many number of parameters to be statistically significant, you have to get huge number of data. I mean huge amounts of data, very large amount of data. But it is not always possible in every problem domain. Okay, so therefore, the more conventional approaches to AI are what is being discussed here.
This is for live.
Sorry?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I hope
This is not required.
this enough?
It's required.
Okay, so I think maybe for the live streaming also this additional things. So this is the idea that given some context of a problem, how do you insert AI and machine learning into that problem? Okay, next slide please. Before we go on to further, I just want to give an overview that what is it that is there with the modern things about AI. So we say that AI is involving systems with reasoning. Okay, so if you make some system and you call it an AI system, it must have some kind of reasoning which is going on. Okay, and it should make some independent choices to its behavior. Okay, and of course AI cannot exist by itself. It is depending upon the lower layer of information technology for it to work. Okay, so like this meme is shown there that everyone is worried that what AI can do. So it will be scary if that the AI is intentionally failing a test. Okay, something like that. Next slide, please. Now, from computation, what do we mean by AI? Okay, so there are actually two dimensions to the computation. One dimension is the the numeric processing kind of thing. Okay, the other dimension is the symbolic dimension. All right, and what can you formulate the algorithm? How do you formulate the algorithm? Okay, as you have seen in machine learning, is there an algorithm? We don't really have algorithm in machine learning. We have data, and indirectly the algorithm is derived from the data. Okay, so these are a different way. So basically, which means that if this processing is symbolic and the processing is heuristic, okay, then that part of it is very much as the core AI. However, you may have some symbolic processing but algorithmic, that is becomes your data science kind of things. If the processing is more heuristic but more numeric, okay, so then it is like your optimization and things like that. Okay, so this is how there are basically different facets to the AI problem. Next slide. Now there is a definition of strong AI versus weak AI. Basically what we want to say here is that in a narrow domain, I can think of and apply and design AI systems which will work extremely well. So say playing chess is a narrow domain, and we have built up systems, AI systems, which will defeat the best grandmaster which is there. Okay, but it doesn't mean that in an everyday situation that system can work. Okay, so if we want the AI as we imagine that it should be artificial intelligent in so many different situations, then that kind of thing is like it should be a weak AI, which is going to be by weak meaning that it doesn't have a single strong algorithm, but it is a very broad based AI which will work in so many different types of situations. Next slide. So now the question is that how did we get into this that machines should be thinking? So in Alan Turing, as long back as 1950, wanted to formulate this problem, and he said that there is a Turing test. So that is, now it is called as a Turing test. So, and he formulated it like this, that he said that if the machine can successfully pretend to be to a human being and portray itself as to be intelligent, then we should say that yes, it should be considered to be intelligent. Okay, so but how do you judge that? So what they do is that you isolate, you create an isolated environment where the interaction is only through a terminal, a video screen rather. Okay, so two video screens are there, and you are typing out questions and answers, but between the two screens, which is this screen belonging to a computer or is this screen belonging to a human being? How do you make out that? Okay, and the intention of the computer is actually to make it look as close to behavior of a human being as possible. So if it succeeds in that, then it is succeeding in the test. Okay, that's the idea of the Turing test. Next slide. So this is showing that C is the judge and A is a computer system, B is a human being, but they are interacting only through these displays, that is the text output which is going down. Next slide. So but in the present times, generative AI is very clearly challenging the Turing test. Turing test is no longer considered to be the infallible test for being able to distinguish AI system. But what is actually happening now, in fact, to say that the Turing test has that the systems are now coming up which are trying to be so human-like. In fact, the reverse Turing test has come out now, and I am sure all of you who are putting in captchas into websites and all that, that is called as the reverse Turing test. That is, you are actually proving that you are a human being. Okay, so that is the idea. Now, the reason for such kind of things is that you are chat GPT and those kind of things, they are generative ones, and they produce a lot of output which very easily may at a first glance look like it is coming from a human being. But nowadays you are having detection algorithms which can detect a chat GPT output. In fact, for exams and all such things, there are some, and in fact in research papers, okay, IEEE will not allow a computer generated research paper to be published. Okay, so if somebody is thinking that okay, I will program the chat GPT and get so many publications, that's not going to work. What is going on nowadays is that this kind of a panel wherein the human is supposed to make some identification, okay, that is being used as a kind of a test of your humanness. Next slide please. So as you know, Turing test has problems, and there is one philosophical argument which is called as the Chinese room argument, in which it says that suppose you take a box, you put a student inside that box, you give the student all these books about translating English to Chinese and Chinese to English, and if you keep putting in some printouts with Chinese inside into the box, the student will read that, means look it up and then try to look up the book and produce an output which is, if it is from English input, it will output a Chinese output. Okay, but does it mean that the student knows Chinese? Okay, that is the philosophical argument which is there in this the Chinese room argument. Okay, which means to say that you are just doing transformations. Okay, but it does not mean whether that person who is doing the transformation knows anything at all. What is the limits to our AI problem? We are training our AI systems with huge amounts of data, but does it mean that that system is actually intelligent? Okay, there are a lot of examples which are coming up on social media and other places, which is again about the chat GPT and its vulnerabilities and all that, which is shown that there is the main problem is the AI systems, however much you may train it, it has no idea of real life. Okay, so there is no training in that in which the link between causation is there. Okay, that is the weak point. Okay, so that's why all these AI systems are really failing. Okay, so putting aside all such kind of things, next slide. What I would like to say is that how do we use the AI systems? Let's just look at that, to focus on creating AI systems which are useful. So if you look at that, we are talking about rule-based systems. Okay, these were the earliest types of AI systems, wherein you'd look at the situation and problem and you'll write a code which is, okay, this is the situation and detect this situation and this is the solution. This is the situation, this is the solution. So like this, that was the early stage of the AI systems. They were called as rule-based systems, expert systems. However, that has failed. Why? The reason is that it is not possible to uniquely define each and every situation. Alright, that was the failing for those systems. Later on, then we came up with the machine learning. In machine learning, you don't have to define and give every situation. What you do is instead that for different situations you collect data and you give it to the machine. And from that, the machine is supposed to find out and detect the underlying hidden patterns and come up with the rules itself. Okay, and then further on, we had the deep learning wherein unstructured data sets, that is text, speech and imagery, that is going to be utilized, and the learning will be taking place from that. Okay, next slide please. And this is how these are everything here is interrelated. Okay, AI is the larger set, inside that you have machine learning, deep learning inside that, and they are all being held up by the statistics and the data science. So that's how we have all these interrelationships. Okay, next slide please. Broadly, what is the machine learning process? Is that you collect the historical data and you put it into a predictive algorithm. Okay, and then through that algorithm a model is trained. Okay, now you can take this model and then when you give it a new data, the output from the model is supposed to predict the outcome. Okay, so that is how the typical way that machine learning is being used presently. Next slide. And machine learning was possible only because the cloud and other things is allowing us to store huge amounts of data. So as more and more data is available, okay, our machine learning will get better. Next slide. But there are limitations to the conventional machine learning. Okay, so this is to show that with more parameters there, deep learning is supposed to be doing more better as compared to with the amount of data. Even deep learning has its limits though. Next slide. Now we come to my work. Here what I am showing is that you have so many different kinds of applications which is possible with the AI and ML systems. So some applications is about the signals and the data processing. Okay, see, signals and data processing is very important for AI, because what is happening is that everything is a signal. You take an image, okay, it is that the different image intensities, that is the signal. If you take speech, the different audio intensities, that is the signal. So like this, different types of signal are there. Okay, how do you cognize those signals? Okay, so our sensors, that is our eyes and ears and all that, a lot of AI and signal processing kind of things is taking place in those things, you know. So that is the primary level. And then another aspect is that as just it was being mentioned by the chief guest, that there is something called as LiDAR, LIDAR. Okay, just like radar, it's a light intensities which is being so laser beams are being thrown out across, and then the reflections are coming, and in that terabytes of data is there. But does it mean you are going to store all the terabytes of data? It is not useful to store the terabytes of data. What is happening is actually that from the terabytes of data, the relevant aspects, that is, you are doing a sparse interpretation of the data. Okay, so sparse methods is the sparse representations is the bottom box. That is the important aspect. Then we are also having that a human being is there and a computer system is there, but the human being and the computer system must have kind of an interaction. So that is the human and computer interaction systems. Okay, now speech is one way of interaction, but suppose I ask you that is a lot of students are reading textbooks, and once they read a textbook they learn. Why can't they do that with a computer system? Okay, I give a computer system. See, this is the neural networks textbook. You read this textbook and tell me and answer some questions to me. Okay, so the paper, if I give a paper book to a computer system, how can it read that? So the way to do that is that you have what is called as an optical character recognition system. Okay, so I have done research in which you build optical character recognition systems. That optical character recognition systems involve segmentation, finding out text in the images, and another application of the optical character recognition systems is, say, like you have built an autonomous vehicle. The autonomous vehicle is going along the highway, and then there is a signboard which says that do not go beyond this point because there is danger or something like that. But the autonomous vehicle is not able to recognize that text, that do not go beyond this point. Okay, and then it will go and crash. But a human being would have read the signboard and would have understood that you should not go past beyond that point. Okay, so which means that even an autonomous vehicle system must have some kind of a translation from the seen into the text and understanding of that. Okay, so what the point is that scene text recognition is an important thing, wherein any scene which is there, the translation of that, finding out the text in the scene and recognizing the text and getting the semantics on that. Okay, so that is how it will be. So that is another application of the OCR, right? Now to come to the hardcore point of it, which is that how do you apply AI and ML in the computer systems themselves? Okay, So you can use the AI and ML systems to increase the system performance. Okay, wherein you will apply the AI ML approaches and you look at the system, computer system, and you want to say that how do I make this computer system to be more efficient? How do I use this AI and ML to make get higher computing performance, throughput, etc. out of a system? Okay, so that is where we have done some work. And then another thing is that how do I protect a system from attacks? Okay, so that is in the system security domain wherein I have done some work. Okay, lastly is the application of AI and computer systems into the for using for neural networks, and which is now it could be useful for autonomous vehicles. Okay, so we'll go through that. Maybe it will take more. I have lots of slides, but we'll go through that quickly. Next slide. First problem, which is the signal and data processing. So in this we talk about the machine learning applications to data representation and processing. See, the fundamental problem in every signal processing domain is that there is a very high dimensionality of the data. How do you reduce the dimensionality of the data to be able to allow it to process in a good way? So the reason for that is that we have to do dimensionality reduction. Okay, and principal component analysis is a well-known technique by which we can do dimensionality reduction. So I have proposed the algorithms wherein we can apply dimensionality reduction in different ways. What is a very difficult problem is that how can you do feature reduction? Okay, high dimensionality is the problem, and can we apply PCA kind of approach for doing feature reduction? Okay, other algorithms are there where they have done it on data reduction, but I have applied it on doing the feature reduction. Okay, that is the next slide. And one of the aspects of this is that how do you find sparse representations of the data? Okay, so this is done by a method called as dictionary learning. Okay, dictionary learning is a branch of machine learning. Okay, wherein we look for a lower dimensional representation of the data, and this is the solution is found through solving an optimization problem. Okay, the optimization problem is given in this formula. Okay, wherein X is the data, but I want to come up with a dictionary and the projection of that the atoms into the sparse space. Okay, that is almost minimized with respect to the sparsity limit. Okay, so that gives you the best possible dictionary. Okay, next slide is. Now, the dictionary size and sparsity limit parameters are crucial for the dictionary learning algorithms, and one of our published work is there on that. Okay, at the end of this slides, you are having I have kept all the references from which, if you want to learn further, you can read that. Okay, next slide is that. This is the well-known method for PCA. You will find PCA method in almost all pattern recognition textbooks and things like that. Okay, but the way I have done the research on the PCA, we are looking at slightly different kind of things. PCA is not sensitive to to the local variations. It is looking at larger global variations. Okay, so next slide. And sub-X PCA is algorithm, my own algorithm which I have proposed, wherein it is looking at subspaces of the feature space. Okay, and so PCA is applied by finding out blocks in the feature space and applying PCA into that blocks of the feature space, and from there extracting the relevant components and putting it together in a cross blocks manner, so that the cross correlation between blocks is not lost, and applying that and coming up with the solution. Next slide please. So now this is about the human-computer interaction through the OCR systems. There are different ways of interaction. One is that you have printed material. interface devices and things like that, wherein the human gestures and handwriting etc. is being recognized. Okay, so the solutions are out there also for that. Next slide, please. We'll skip this. Printed OCR is well known. We'll skip this. Next slide. Okay, just to document and say that now since we are in Andhra Pradesh and Telugu is the language here, I have worked on the Telugu OCR. Okay, next slide. These are some problems and issues which are there, which we solved. Next slide, further on. Okay, so this is all how we have solved that. Okay, next slide. Segmentation. Segmentation is image segmentation, which is a useful thing in any image problem. Okay, how do you find and isolate that part of the image which is useful for you? Okay, so that's the image segmentation problem. Next slide, please. This is just one example. Those of you who know some Telugu, you may say be able to identify that there is some character there which is looking like okay, but visually we can identify it easily, but when it is represented in a numeric form, this is one of the examples of representing it in a numeric form. Okay, this is a fringe map. This, we took the character and we converted it into a fringe map. This is what a fringe map looks like. It's a distance transform. Okay, next slide, please. Then we use the fringe concept to be able to find out the segment out the text lines. Okay, next slide. So suppose two lines are printed. I have to neatly take out the first line and then the second line. Okay, so by our fringe method, we are able to do that. Next slide. Okay, there are different approaches for that. Many approaches could be used. Just giving some examples of that. Next slide. And of course, statistical methods like hidden Markov models were also used. Hidden Markov models are very important statistical models. Okay, they are useful when you want to take a sequence, a signal which is coming in a sequence, and you want to translate that sequence into a string of symbols. And there is a noise in the input sequence. So what is being done is that the state modeling is being done. The statistical state modeling is there, wherein within the actual state is hidden, but looking at the emission probabilities, you try to make an inference about what should be the state by which this type of symbol is being produced. So you are analyzing a symbol sequence and trying to get at what is the hidden state sequence. Okay, this is the same problem in speech processing and things like that. In deep learning networks nowadays, what we are doing is that we are doing sequence transformations. Okay, so the algorithms are being used to do sequence transformations, input sequence to output sequence. Okay, and the state models, the transition of states inside that is hidden actually. Okay, next slide. This is also related to OCR and things like that. Next slide. I have also worked on Kannada OCR for just completeness. Next. Kannada, Telugu and Gujarati OCR I have worked on. Next slide. And this is also about handwriting character recognition. So what we did is that we used tree matching. Okay, in computer science, tree matching is a very clear algorithm. Suppose I take an image and I translate that image into some kind of a tree representation. Okay, then it is very simple. If I get another image, I convert it into a tree, and then my algorithm is just trying to match two trees. Okay, in computer science, tree matching is a well-known algorithm and it can be done very efficiently. Okay, however, taking an image and building a tree out of it, in my research, that is the most difficult part. Okay, so that's why my algorithm could not go beyond a certain extent. Next slide. So identification of text in images. Okay, Suppose I take a picture of this room, so many millions of pixels, your cameras are now producing megapixels. From so many millions of pixels, which is the part of the pixels which is associated with text? Okay, how do you know, or how can you characterize and say this is the area where there is a text? Okay, so that is called as the identification of text. Okay, next slide. So I have given algorithms and all that, where you can, looking at the image characteristics, you can do the text and all that. Okay, these days in deep networks, you can solve that problem using what is called as ResNet. ResNet, you can train, and many variants of that, etc., are trained now, and you can detect that text easily. Okay, next slide, please. Now is the interesting aspect, wherein I have used machine learning to be able to do a performance prediction and apply it to computer systems. All right. So computer system like an operating system. All right. So what happens in a computer system? I have various binary programs. Different types of programs are there. It is entered into the operating system for running as a job. Okay. If different programs are given to the operating system to run as the jobs, is there a way for the operating system to look at those programs themselves and come up with an approach to say that if I schedule this like this, it will give me an overall higher throughput? That was the problem which we looked at. Okay, so this is done not now, but it's done almost 20 years back. I had a student, and then we were working on looking at the Linux job and then trying to do predictions on that. Okay, that's given a reference 12 over there. So we came up with this C, that is nowadays it's a well-known machine learning algorithm, which is, that is your decision tree algorithm. So you, based on the attributes, you can build a decision tree, and if a new data comes in, you look at the attributes, and then you can come to a decision and say that this will be the prediction. Okay, next slide, please. So in a computer system, different jobs are coming in, and they are making use of the resources, say like cache, and the prediction, the performance of the system will drop if there is a conflict, cache conflict. Okay, two programs are there in a multiprocessor system, and if they are trying to use the cache in a different way, then the overall performance will drop. Okay, so for that we predicted the performance and looked at how different pairs of programs, different pairs of programs can try to coexist in the same system and try to utilize the cache. So if you are able to schedule the programs which are more compatible, then you will be able to find that your system throughput performance can be improved. Next slide. So like this, the regression approach was used for this cache stress problem. Next slide, please. And that way we came up with some schedulers, and this idea or concept is applied further to clusters, Hadoop clusters. Next slide. And reinforcement learning and such kind of things was utilized over there. Next slide. Intrusion detection. Nowadays a lot of firewalls and all are there. How does a firewall stop something? It is because it is trained through machine learning. Next slide. So masquerade detection, is a system compromised or not? So you look at certain parameters of the system, in what way it is giving some outputs, and through that you monitor, and then you get that what is the output which is being produced, and through that you will be, if you look at that, then you will come to that you can construct the support vector machine, and once it is trained, if you give it the inputs, it can say that whether a system is compromised or not. But for that you have to collect the vulnerability data, and if you apply that, you will be able to say that whether a system is compromised or not. Next slide, please. This is another problem which I have worked on, wherein what happens is that suppose you are having a large cloud. In a cloud, what is happening is that there are number of processors, there is a processing pool, there is a data pool. Now I want to improve the throughput very much. So what I have to do is that I have to see that okay, there is a cost which is involved of taking the data and moving it closer to a processor pool. But if some tasks are there which have to be accomplished very fast, then I have to solve this optimization problem of matching the processor pool and the data pool. Okay, so this solution, which is called as a replica selection. So what you do is that actually even Google does it. How do you see that your YouTube video is coming up so fast? It's because Google has taken that basic YouTube data and they have put fragments of that data at various servers. And moment some request for that video comes up, it is trying to match and it finds out the server which can service that request the fastest. Okay, so that's how the YouTube is giving you very good service. That is done through replica management. That is the same data, you take it and you put various replicas of the data at various points. Okay, so how do you solve that problem? So in our research papers, we have solved that using rough set theory approach. So rough set theory approach is an extension like fuzzy set. Okay, so as we know that crisp sets are not adequate at all instances. So we solved it through the rough set theory approach. Next slide. Another idea which is there that in computer security is how do you trust? Okay, so I will allow a program to run only if I trust that program. Many of you would be seeing that question being posed to you. Okay, should you allow this program to run? Should you allow this program to access this or not? You know something, so you trust that and you allow that. Okay, so but how do you create that trust? Is there a quantitative way by which you can model the trust? So modeling trust is what we have done, and some applications are there. Fuzzy based methods are there. Next. And the trust models is applied in the wireless area networks. Okay, so that is the wireless networks, so manets and things like that. Next slide. And then we proposed an approach wherein the weighing of trust is done by a kind of a sophisticated statistical modeling approach, which is called as Dempster-Shafer probability modeling. Okay, that was used. It was successfully used for wireless sensor networks. Next slide. This is about the applications of neural networks. So neural networks and computer systems together, if they are put together, they can work very well. And this is an application which was meant for ISRO, wherein you are having multiple sensors, and as the rocket is fired up, how to track and that rocket. Okay, so that is the thing which was there. Next slide. So like this, we have published the method wherein we want to monitor vehicular safety. To monitor the vehicular safety, so many parameters are needed. Okay, so once you put that parameters and you then model it, and then as if you are having some training data, then what you can see is that even though some operational parameters may be changing, but due to your model, you can say that okay, this is safe, this is not safe. So if the vehicular safety is going towards unsafe, then it can give some alerts and give this one. Okay, next slide. Okay, I think I was good in keeping very much in time, and like that we can have some discussion on that. Next slide. These are the references. What all I have talked about is published work. Okay, it is there in these references, and anyone wants to follow further, you can look at those references and read and try to go further on that. Next slide. Next slide. This is all the references. Okay, with that I stop here. You can have some question answer discussion. You can ask anything which you want.
Thank you, Dr. Leghi, for this beautiful presentation on this topic. So we are open to question and answer now. So if anyone has any query or if anyone wants to discuss anything, we are open to that.
Sir, you are working on feature reduction
Yes, feature reduction, yes.
So how it will impact on the accuracy part of your model?
Yes. So it is like this. See, what happens is that I should have feature reduction, but not at the cost of accuracy.
How do we balance?
So what we have to do is that of course there will be some loss, but what happens is that if you analyze the features, you can slowly try to remove those features which are not contributing to the accurate outcome. In deep learning, that is also done. That is done by keeping multiple layers, and then there is a dropout and all those things. So, but here what I have done is that we have done it through using PCA. And when we applied PCA, what we did was that we took the entire features and we made blocks of features. Then we found PCA on those blocks of features. And then we put together the mapping of the data based on that PCA. So that like that we have generated a projection space. Okay. Now that on that projection space, again we have applied PCA. So as to collect those features which are outstanding features. Okay, so that way we have sort of suppressed those features which are not contributing and having the variation of the data. That is basically sub-X PCA algorithm is basically that.
Thank you, sir. Anyone has any question further? Sir, I would like to add up something.
Yes.
So as you said about the YouTube is doing the replica model to get faster data. So is it a trade-off with space management as well? Because if you have to replicate the data in different servers, so store the same data in different places. So is it like they want more space and it's a trade-off between time and space?
See, thing is that as YouTube is having a highly commercial model. So in the commercial model, we don't look at all these computational issues. In the commercial model, customer has to be satisfied. Now, if the YouTube, you start the YouTube and it is going on spinning, you'll say, chodo, I'll look at something else. Right? So, what Google has done is that they have seen that which are the important hits which are there, and for those videos, they are adding it into the replication in the replica sites. So it is like caching only. Like when you do caching, so here it is a distributed caching approach. So that way they are able to, at the cost, you are correct, there is a trade-off. At the cost of extra storage and processing, they are giving us better response time. That is
generating the revenue also.
Yes, yeah, and generating revenue.
Yeah. And one thing, sir, you told about different models for machine learning, like regression is there, clustering is there, reinforced learning is there. So is there any way that if I know the problem, can I decide which one to follow, which model to follow?
Okay, there is no single answer to that, but we can say something like this, that what type of answer is desired? Is it a single parameter answer which is numeric? If there is a single parameter answer which is numeric, then I may say that regression approaches would be good. Okay, but if there are different possible choice of answers which is required, okay, then we have to come up with a classification approach. So that way, that is the way. But once you go into classifiers, then there are so many classifiers. How do you choose which is the correct classifier for this kind of a problem? I think there is not any easy way to answer that. Perhaps you can, if you go into conventional classification approaches, support vector machines, etc., are doing well. Okay, but what I am trying to say is that if I have a very good feature extraction approach coupled with a conventional classifier also, you can get classification accuracies which is sort of challenging the deep learning without having that much of data.
Thank you, sir. We are up to the end of the keynote talk, and thank you very much for presenting this.
Thank you. Yes.
Yeah, hello sir.
Yeah.
I have a question regarding the reinforcement learning.
Okay.
Reinforcement learning can be applicable in the robotics control system based on the agent action and rewards. So is it applicable in the signal processing? If it is applicable, how to choose the agent, reward and actions in the signal processing?
Okay.
Yeah.
See, thing is that if you have a signal and you may have different noise filters, right? And you must know that whether or not the noise is removed or not. Okay. So you should say you should have two samples of the signal, with noise, without noise, right? Then only we can succeed. I have the signal without noise, with noise, all right, and then I can apply the usual conventional signal processing methods and extract the signal parameters and things like that, and then if you do a subtractive approach, then you will be left with what is the parameters which is contributing to the noise, right? That you can use to train the reinforcement learning. Okay, so you cannot apply directly, but if you are able to do this successfully, then you will be able to, because the rewards aspect is very clear. If this is there, then you give a reward. If it is not there, if it is opposite of that, give a punishment. Okay, so if we do this pre-processing, then we can transform the signal processing problem wherein you can apply the reinforcement learning.
Hello sir.
Yeah.
I want to know, like, whenever we use the deep neural network and
Yes.
train the neurons,
Yes.
whatever will come out, final classifier, whatever will come out, that is totally data dependent, using which we train the network.
Yes.
But is there any research coming up which is saying that, like, it is looking like a black box completely. So is there any research which is trying to find out what is the nature of this black box, or then how can we find out some patterns?
Yes. So please, this has been a problem which is there from the beginning with any type of neural network, not just deep network. And then for that, now in the industry they are calling it as explainable AI. Okay, so in which that if this outcome has come out, what is the reason you came to this outcome? Basically, that's what we want to know, isn't it? Now there are two levels of looking at it. One is that it is at a very low level kind of thing. I came to this answer because the weight threshold was so much. That is not helping us in a human terms very much. Okay, so that is the kind of problems which is coming up with explainable AI and things like that. A more deeper semantic understanding is required. Okay, so that is possible if we are able to come up with the class.
Good morning all. So we are at the university. Today we have an eminent researcher, Professor Sudhan Maji sir, as a keynote speaker for session 2. Sudhan Maji sir received his Master of Technology degree in Computer Science and Data Processing from Indian Institute of Technology, Kharagpur, India in 2004, and a PhD degree from Nanyang Technological University, Singapore in 2008. He has postdoctoral experience at the University of Michigan, Dearborn, USA, the Institute of Electronics and Telecommunication, Rennes, France, and National Technological University, Singapore. He was an assistant professor jointly with Mathematics and Electrical Engineering Department, Electrical Engineering, and assistant professor jointly with Mathematics and Electrical Engineering Department at IIT Patna from 2013 to 2018. He was also an associate professor from July 2018 to August 2021. Currently, he is an associate professor in Electrical Communication Engineering at Indian Institute of Science, Bangalore. He is a fellow of Sri Visvesvaraya Young Faculty Research. He is an editor of IEEE Transaction on Vehicular Technology Journal, IEEE Wireless Communication Letters. He has served an editorship of IEEE Communication Letters and associate editor of Circuit Systems, Signal Processing, Springer. His research area includes signal processing for wireless communication, which includes blind synchronization and parameter estimation,
modulation classification, cooperative communication, physical layer security, cognitive radio, OFDM, single carrier, FDMA, MIMO OFDM, NOMA, millimeter waves, intelligent reflecting surfaces, and sequence designs. Today, he'll walk us through the 6G generation technology for wireless communication, and he'll speak on key technologies for the implementation of 6G, where we will be talking about the NOMA, MIMO, energy harvesting techniques, index modulation, intelligent reflecting surfaces, full duplex communication, and physical layer security. Without any delay, let's invite Dr. Sudhan Maji for this keynote session. So welcome you. So this one for the MS team.
Okay. So good morning everyone. I hope you are enjoying the today's session. And thank you very much Vinod. Vinod is my student. I guided him during his PhD journey and I know him very well. And I also, thanks to the organizing committee, Bappaditya and other members for invitation. And somehow I managed time and I came to here to share something. And you are hearing so many things about machine learning, AI, and just today's keynote speaker already mentioned that instead of using the AI ML for computer vision, he also used this AI ML for operating system. Okay, now I'll go bit different scenario than what usually you heard from the different speaker. Here we'll talk about how AI ML can be used for communication, means totally electronics and communication domain. So that is my main agenda. But before going to the AI ML, because you know AI ML, so now I need to little bit introduce about to the audience that what is wireless communication and what is the requirement and how AI ML can help. So, and like you know, most of the time you see that AI ML is a black box. If you see this AI ML black box, you can utilize this. You will be a user. But if you want to do research on AI ML, then you have to understand that AI ML is not black box. Inside there is a lot of things going on, and that you have to understand. So don't think that AI ML is a black box, and basically if you want to use for the different purpose, okay, you need to classify the image, you give the data, the model is trained, or you can train the model and you can get the output. But if you want to use this AI ML for the different application where nobody has done, then you have to know. Don't think that people are just developed AI ML and this is a black box. Okay? So whenever you do not know, you think this is a black box. Once you come to know, this is a engineering or science, whatever you can say, right? So now let me come to my talk. I said that intelligent signal processing for 6G communications, and next slide. So these are the outlines, but I'll skip some of the things due to time constraint, but I just try to give a flavor of AI ML for wireless communication. Next slide. So the things I'm talking about 6G. You may have question why we need 6G. 5G is not yet in the market, and I'm talking about 6G. And people may say that I'm crazy, but that I have to prove. No, I'm not crazy. 5G is required. If you see that 1G, it was a FDMA. Very simple techniques. 5 subcarriers are there, 5 users are there. I need to serve. Very 1G. But then 2G came.
we had shortage of bandwidth, we had shortage of spectrum. Oh, I cannot support the users because users increased. 1G, it was 1980 around. Then 2G is 92,000. Around that time, the number of users increased a lot. So then people said, no, I have to divide one frequency to different slots, means vertical expansion. You can imagine that town and city. What is the difference between town and city? Town almost, that one floor house you can find, but if you come to city, then you will find the multi complex, right? Why? Because space constant. Similarly, there is a spectrum constant. So we have to move vertically. Then this came to TDMA. Then came to TDMA, FDMA. Still number of users got increased. Then what we have done? CDMA, that code division multiple access. Okay? The put 3-4 different people who speak different language, put in the one room and ask them to talk. There will be no interference. So this is called the CDMA. But then again, CDMA had constant. How many language people you can get in India? Maximum, which are totally orthogonal, you may find 6, 7, 10. So that CDMA technology also could not support the population we are having or the users we are having who are using the mobile device. Then come to the 4G, that where we use multiple MIMO to transmit multiple stream and to get the diversity. There is connectivity, So most of the time, if you notice that nowadays the dropping call is very less compared to the 20 years before. That time the dropping call means there is no reliability about the connection. You have to move here and there to find the signal. But nowadays, not like this, right? And believe me, when 5G will be completed, at that time this connectivity will be reduced, and when we will move to 6G, there will be no problem of connectivity, even though number of users may be million or billion, whatever, okay? So, the thing is that the quality of service, this is called quality of service, we are getting increased. Now, there is a bottleneck. Constant number of users, who can help us? So, we are trying to use AI ML which can help all these things. How? I'll come to this picture. This 5G actually not yet adopted AI ML because still each and every block we are using a statistical methods. ML methods, then there are so many covariance method, matrix decomposition method to estimate some kind of parameters. So those blocks will be replacing by the machine learning. Next. So you see, I'm just giving a little bit brief overview about how the 6G will be helping to us. You see that 2G, 3G, 4G, all the band, very minimized, 2.4 to 2.6 gigahertz available. Then 5G is just only we introduce sub 6 gigahertz. Have you heard? Sub 6 gigahertz, there are so many news about, okay, there will be a lot of health issue, there are court case, all these things, okay. But then this 5G, even some extra band we got, right? Now think about 6G, huge spectrum available. But what is the problem? It's a very fundamental problem in physics. If the frequency get increased, the wavelength is very less. So the signal cannot travel for long distance. So then what is the problem? Signal cannot travel the long distance. Then how we can use this kind of 6G, that 26 gigahertz, 66 gigahertz, even people are thinking about terahertz. Now, okay, how we can travel, let's say I need to travel from here to Delhi. So do we travel by flight from here to Delhi? Yes or no? Yes? No. We do not travel from Amravati to our VIT-AP to Delhi by flight. We take last mile, this is from here to Vijayawada is a last mile distance. We travel by the vehicles. Then from Vijayawada to Delhi, again flight. Then again Delhi to some institute. Again we travel by vehicles. So there is two mode of transportation. One is flight, one is car. So now if we mix these two problems to single problem, obviously we will face the problem. So don't mix these two problems. Here also same thing. So long distance you are talking about huge fiber optics, use conventional communication system, you use wire communication. But the last mile communication, let's say my fiber optics till this building, and there will be some access point, and that access point will use very high frequency to communicate last mile communication. So your problem is solved. So in the future, in this building, there will be so many access points. There will be so many intelligent reflecting surface. So those will increase your data rate. Those will increase your data rate. So obviously then I need a only last mile solution. So then I can use this 6G, this one. So you may think that, okay, currently we are getting 10 Gbps, right? 5 GB, 10 Gbps data rate. Is it not sufficient? But do you know that virtual reality, augmented reality, so metaverse, how much data rate required to develop such kind of technology? It is about more than 10 GB, around 20 to 20 GB at initial point. And when the technology will get maturity, lot of users will use this metaverse concept. That time it will be 50 Gbps. 5G cannot support. So then 3 points. One, we are using AI ML. How will help? That I'll talk later. So we are getting huge bandwidth. We are getting huge data rate. So that's why 6G is essential. And you know, 4G, India could not able to do much in this technology. And 5G, we are trying to do a lot of things. Yesterday I had a meeting just before coming to here with Jio, Airtel, Qualcomm, Nokia. They are trying to build up 5G. What problem? Because this 5G technology research, everything started 10 years before. So almost all the patent, because if you want to manufacture any kind of device, any kind of protocol, you have to have your own protocol. IPR, what I'm taking a patent. But if those patents taken by some other people, then you cannot build. Then you will be bankrupted after fighting the law, all these things, okay? So, although we are trying to develop a 5G, but we have doubt how much we can capable. Yes, some of the patent we are having, but not in there. But you know, we have huge market in India. So, we are looking now 6G. And there are so many initiatives already have been started. So many funding is given by the government, okay? And so, by this, so 6G actually we are targeting. Then, so I hope that idea is clear that why 6G we are starting at the initial point. Because we have huge market. You cannot imagine how much, and it is not that we have to have very sophisticated protocol, sophisticated technology, whatever technology we can have, okay? We have huge market. So that is the reason we are looking for 6G communications. Next. Now 5G, you know, this is 3 circle. I think many of you have seen. Is there any EC background students? Can you raise your hand who are from EC background? Okay. So, might be you have seen this 3 triangle. So, at a time you cannot achieve all. You have to application specific. For example, you need metaverse. Then you have to go the top one. Enhance mobile broadband. It's called EMBB. EMBB. Have you seen this short form? EMBB. And URLCC. The right hand side is I have not given the short form. LTC. Then this is a MMTC, small m MTC. I found somewhere here. So if you are looking very high data rate, the top one, then fine. But at that time you cannot support massive users. The left hand, you have to slowly compromise the data rate. Then you can support very high data rate. For example, let's say there is a manufacturing hub and you want to communicate, each machine will be communicated to another machine. So data rate may not be required, but you can support a massive communications. Okay? Then right hand side, you cannot get data rate. You cannot get too much massive communication, but this communication can be very ultra reliable. Means the communication delay, you know, whatever I am speaking, so there is some delay. It may be 1 second, it may be millisecond, but there is just delay. 5G, the delay is 1 millisecond. 6G, we are 10 millisecond. And 6G, we are trying to have 1 millisecond. So whatever these three triangle we are having, it has some meaning. But now we want to extend this triangle to bigger scale. Next slide. So you can see that. Next slide. You see, the inner circle is 5G. So we are expanding. That data rate was 10 Gbps. And we are making it, can I get some water bottle? So we are making it 100 Gbps. The delay was 10 millisecond, right hand side. We are making it 1 millisecond. So, thank you. Their massive communication. So, massive communication means we are talking about terrestrial communication. All the horizontal communications. Wait for 5 years. There will be huge market for non-terrestrial communication. Means that UAV coming to the pictures. Everywhere will be UAV communications. So you have to communicate. You cannot leave the UAV uncommunicated. There will be so many collision, so many disaster. Okay? So you have to communicate. Then UAV will be communicate to himself so that they cannot have collide. Similarly, you can communicate to LEO satellite. So directly nowadays, what problem we are facing? Let's say you are saying that okay, GPS working, giving the positioning. But is it GPS giving positioning to other people? No. You can know your position only. But if you want to know position of other, then you have to use LTE. Why? Now because you are receiving signals from GPS, global satellite, but you cannot send that signal to the GPS. Can we resolve this problem? Now we need to link to this 6G communications. Next slide. Next slide. So you see, you know that let's say I need to transmit 1 Gbps data. My image size is 1 Gbps, GB, 1 GB data. Now, but actual transmission, you know, it is not 1 GB. It is more than that. Why? Because there are a lot of overhead, lot of pilot, lot of training sequence need to be added to send this data to specific data. So actually whatever the actual data we are sending, we are supposed to send, we are sending more than that. So it needs more time or more bandwidth. Now to solve this problem, we were saying that no, let us not send the redundant data, means this overhead, pilot or training sequence. Then if we do not send those kind of overhead, because those have some meaning, specific reason to send this overhead. Maybe finding the users, maybe finding the node, routing protocol, all these things is required. No, we are saying this routing protocol, finding user, type of data, it may be text, it may be video, those things I can dig out by using AI/ML. If I can do those things, my entire data will be squeezed to smaller data. Now you try to see the benefit. Since I reduce the data, so my complexity will get reduced, my delay will be reduced, my power consumption will be reduced. But we are looking for those. We are looking data rate, high data rate, latency, low latency. Low latency means I need to execute the data very specific time, very low time. Then I have to reduce the data. Once you reduce the data, you need AI/ML to dig the information, other information, not the data information, routing protocol, whom to whom send, or cryptography. So you see, in communication, every field, but very few people are in AI/ML in physical layer communication. They might be networking layer, software defined network, but you will find only 3 people might be working in India, me and some faculty from IIT Hyderabad, some faculty from IIT Jodhpur, and they are not even AI/ML physical layer, they are having some kind of course. Okay, fine. And so then you see there is a big market AI/ML in physical layer communication. So this is the power efficiency, cost efficiency. So AI, if you evolve to this application, then you will get a very high efficient communication device. So the purpose of having high data rate, less spectrum, less power, computational efficiency, all the problem can be addressed by AI/ML. So now the thing is that, next slide, we have to understand that, next slide. So I am not changing my object. Object is clear. I have to design an intelligent receiver. This slide I made in 2010. I have not changed any single words except this 6G adaptive transceiver system, the red color. Otherwise, I have not changed this slide a single word. Why? Because my objective is same. But in the same objective, I am using now AI/ML. Now next slide. So go to previous slide. Okay, what is the motivation of this one objective? That I didn't tell. The objective is that we have a mobile device. So do you know how many transceiver we are having and why we are having? Okay, but the question is that why our battery get exhausted by 1 day or 2 days? Because there are so many transceiver. There is a Bluetooth transceiver, there is a Wi-Fi transceiver, there is a GPS receiver, there is a GSM transceiver, and also infrared if there is a things, right? So 5-6 transceiver, this means there is a 5-6 RF chain, radio frequency chain, and radio frequency chain is very much power hungry and much more complex procedure. Now the question is that when we are speaking, do we need hardly Wi-Fi, or do we need hardly GPS or Bluetooth? No, right? Or when I am using the Bluetooth, I may not need Wi-Fi. When I need Wi-Fi, I no need the other kind of things. So my question is that, can we integrate all the mobile devices, all the RF chain to a single, so that currently our battery lasts for 2 days. Then if I merge this 5 RF chain to single RF chain, then my battery will be 10 days. Battery lifetime will be 10 days, right? Very simple calculation. So now, to do these things, you have to identify whether it is a Wi-Fi signal or whether it is a GSM signals or GPS signals. To identify, we need a machine learning. So before what we have done? Before we have used some kind of statistical methods. So now we are trying to replace those statistical method by AIML. Now the question is that are we deviating from the objective? No, that I said, right? I have not changed my slide. Are we not deviating the objective? Are we deviation performance? No, even we are getting better performance than the previous. You know, better performance in the sense, when we do some study, we do some analysis, whatever the theoretical analysis, when you go to the practical, there is a 3 dB, 5 dB loss. Why this loss? Now, because to develop a mathematical model, we need some kind of assumption. Okay, this is this model, this is a delta tends to 0, right? Delta tends to 0, assumption. So in mathematical, there are so many assumptions we do. Additive white Gaussian noise, relay fading channel, all are mathematical model. Why? No, because otherwise we cannot come to the solution. And this problem, when you come to the practical you will not find AWGN. Practical you will not find relay fading channel. So those problems is 3 dB loss. Now if I use AIML, he does not need to know that your name is what. He will identify, okay, what is your face size, what is your height, what is all these things. No bother to, because he need to classify that how many students are there, right? He no need to know him. But if I need to classify, I need to tell, okay, this is a name, this is a name, this is a department, this is a department. But AIML, no need to know. His job is, objective is classify how many people are there. But to me, I have to find the ID, all these things, then I can do, right? So you see, the purpose is same, objective is same. So, but our accuracy, and when AIML I'll be apply for the real world, there will be hardly any loss. So try to understand how much AIML has advantage. Next slide. And I think I'm not taking much time, right? Yeah, so I'll take another two minutes. Back. Yeah. So this is a simple, I have not given much, just diagram. What diagram it is? That mobile device, we have some kind of parameters. And this parameter has to be fixed at the base station as well. Because what is the symbol length? What is the carrier frequency? So all the parameters given, then to decode the signals or decode the information at the receiver, those parameters is required. Then because Wi-Fi has some standard, Bluetooth has some standard, so that's why Bluetooth transmitter can connect only to Bluetooth receiver, because these parameters same, but Wi-Fi cannot connect to the Bluetooth. Do you know that, right? Because you cannot connect Bluetooth to Wi-Fi. Why? Because this parameter everyone has to know. Then only you can communicate, transmit the things. But what happens if at the receiver, all the parameters if I can identify, then even I can connect to Bluetooth through Wi-Fi. So that is the main objective of this work. So obviously this work I did 13 years before. Then that each and every block I have done by using a statistical methods and rigorous studies. One block I have taken almost 6 months, 1 year. So develop entire things I had taken 3 years. And at that time I was postdoc. So postdoc supposed to produce so many work, so many research, okay? But so complex, and this most of the work was defense, Singapore defense. At that time I was working for Singapore defense. And then implementation in theoretical, then I developed those things in test bed, and I always found theoretical is some kind of performance, and coming to the practical, I'm not getting that much of performance. I have realized myself. So from that time, it was in my mind that how we can reduce this gap. So that motivated me to find out some alternative solution. How can? Then now Then I came to the understanding this AI. Even that time I had to struggle to develop such kind of idea, and many of the eminent scientists, they denied my project proposal many times. But I was little bit rigid that okay, no, I have to do this one. Then I was totally theorist. I was mathematician, just simple mathematician. Okay. Then I had to purchase, I had to learn the system itself, practical system. I asked my supervisor to purchase the equipments. Then whatever theory I have developed, I tried to implement those things. That time machine learning, AI didn't come to the picture. Now then I developed those ideas to practical. Then another meeting, because defense every month or every 3 months you had to present your work. I said, you see, whatever my idea, it's working. So this is a very struggling moment for me, that to convince them that no, this is practical. And that time I know that this can be also AI. I am facing problem jumping from ground floor to first floor, and that time AI ML is 10th floor. So that time nobody accepting me to jump from the ground floor to first floor. How I can jump from the ground floor to 10th floor? So that stopped me to adopt AI ML. But I knew at that time AI ML will help. Then roughly I started this AI ML in 2016 something to convince to the students. Then 2018 again I started. Then this AI ML when started the work, I got a lot of criticized. Okay, AI ML is good for computer vision. Even I submitted one project proposal. They sanctioned my fund, 50 lakhs. But they said, don't do work in AI ML. I'm giving the fund, okay? But don't do work AI ML. You do whatever the statistical method. Then I said, okay, they are the very big guys and they are stopping me to work AI ML. I know that working AI ML, getting publication IEEE transaction is very, very difficult at that time. But I'm an academician, okay? I need without IEEE transaction, nobody will give the value, okay? I knew that. Then 2019, when I presenting, before even some good eminent faculty members in IIT, ISC, they said that, this is research is fine, practically is not so difficult, no, it's not easy. Then 2021, I started interacting with the industry, whoever, service provider, operator. Then I got stuck. Everyone looking now solution of AI ML. So now they are ready to give fund. Okay, if you have patent, then I can buy this patent from you. I can buy patent from you. Just yesterday, people, that do you have any patent? Then I said I'm working for a long time. Then sir, do you have any patent? I will purchase. Means they will use it and they will getting licensing. So the thing is that. AI ML has huge market, whether people, means not only computer vision, I'm just off side from this computer vision, all these things, but who are communication background, and everywhere the plus point is that so many advantages there, okay? So I'm not going to my, I'm stopping it here. So I'm just giving some brief overview. I have not come to my research yet, okay? So it will take almost 2 to 3 hours time to come to this exact research, what I do. You can search my name, Sudhan Majhi, and then you can find so many research articles you'll find, okay? At least 100 or more than 150, I do not count nowadays, and you'll find every year almost 10 IEEE transactions, okay, and you'll find some patent, okay. So, but if you are working AI ML, you are expert, you may connect to me, but I'll apply this AI ML for here. You can file, and many people are looking for patent, okay. As I said at initial stage, 6G communication, we need at least 10,000 patent so that we can be in the driver position of 6G and 7G onward, okay. So because we have huge market. Yeah, thank you very much. I'll be happy to take some questions. Whatever the question you can ask. Not it should be from technical, anything. I'll be happy to take the question.
Thank you very much, sir. This is a beautiful talk and as well as inspiring also. So in the starting you told about the last mile journey about 6G. When I heard about 6G, I had a doubt. If the distance travel is less, how 6G can be used? But actually you told a very good solution to that. And one doubt is that visible light comes after 6G range.
Visible light?
Comes after the 6G range in frequency. So visible light is also behaving as a wave and we are writing the wave equation for visible light also. And why this 6G as a microwave cannot be used as that? Why it is traveling less distance when visible light can travel a long distance? So we are both are characterizing with the wave equation. In that way, how it is different?
No, because as I said, how you can, visible light communication is a high frequency, right?
High frequency about the travel distance. So visible light frequency, it is line of sight operation, it is happening. That is not the thing I am asking. I am asking that if we can travel in line of sight for 100 km, let's say, but 6G will not go that far in 6G frequency bands. But visible light is higher frequency band compared to 6G. So why 6G signal cannot travel that long? The answer also I know because of absorption and all those things it will be there, but still the doubt is there. If higher frequency signal like visible light can travel long distance, why these microwave signals of 6G cannot travel?
Yeah, no, visible light communication, you are saying that travel long distance, but no. Visible, because if you want to modulate the signal, you see, whatever signals you are transmitting, wave, electromagnetic wave, it is not that it is not traveling a lot, it is traveling very long. But the question is that, whatever the distance they are covering, will you be able to recover the signals? Because you are not sending the only electromagnetic wave, you are sending some information with this wave. Now, will you be able to retrieve that information with that long distance? The question answer is no. But the traveling of the electromagnetic wave is huge, because although initially this one, but they have trailing.
Yeah, the amplitude will lose.
Amplitude will be loose. So low that you cannot able to recover the information. That is the main problem. You are saying visible light travel long distance. We have recently developed a test bed. Okay, we can keep LED between just 1 centimeter, 2 centimeters. Then we can able to transmit the data. We have our own test bed. Yeah, Vinod help me to develop that test bed. Now, if we just little bit far away, right, we cannot able to transmit the signals. So then how one can tell that visible light it is visible to you? That's why you are saying that traveling.
So in that way, how that visible light communication is different from these lights?
Vinod? Okay.
Now we'll have a discussion with
Yeah. Light. So this light, it's a fixed intensity. That is electromagnetic, electric, right? But LED or this one, they have different different amplitude level, different kind of intensity you may receive. But this intensity is a fixed. But there we vary the intensity based on the information.
Storage there is a variation.
Yeah. I'll have a deep discussion with
Vinod is expert somehow VLC and visible light
and
communication.
So one more doubt, like we are going from 1G, 2G, 3G, 4G, 5G. Is it just about the frequency, increasing frequency or something else?
No, I gave the first slide, right?
Yeah.
There's a TDMA I called then.
All these things are there, but from 3G, 4G, 5G, what we do, we are increasing the frequency so that data transfer can increase as well.
6G, we are changing also the baseband technology. In 1G, we used FDMA, I said, right? Then with TDMA, OFDM, then TDMA, OFDMA, then CDMA. Then MIMO came to picture, OFDM came to pictures. Now 6G coming intelligent reflecting surface. It is coming backscatter communication. It is coming OTFS. It is coming full duplex. So now all the communication is one duplex. I communicate once. The down, let's say I am talking to you. Now you are talking, right? So same time we cannot have a conversation, right? There will be collision. So that's why uplink, downlink, we use two different frequency or we use two different time slot. Now the question is that at the same time, same frequency, can we have uplink and downlink together, same communication? That coming to the pictures. So we will be saving double of the spectrum. Then there is no more techniques. there is a index modulation technique. So those are the constant of the spectrum, because we have very minimum spectrum. Most of the spectrum allocated to military, there are so many reasons. So minimum spectrum, how to increase the data rate, that is the technology. Bandwidth, we are getting little bit. That is not a technology.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. If any other questions, I request you to
Yeah, please.
Yeah, please.
Thank you very much, sir, for your excellent presentation. I think you have presented a novel approach, because many of prominent people wanted to stop you, but you did not stop. So it's really good work. My question is, there are many machine learning approaches and models, as well as there are many artificial intelligence applications. What types of machine learning approaches or algorithms and AI applications will be required for your patent?
Okay, you see, based on the application, if you want to, let's say I said that there are so many applications, some estimation classification. If you want to classify, use simple ADNN or CNN approach. So now, if you want to classify which as a time variant, first of all you have to understand the signal nature, not only results. For example, I had to do modulation classification. Many of the ECE background, you know modulation. Even computer science people know little bit modulation. Modulation means what? For 0, we have to transmit some amplitude. For 1, we have to submit another amplitude. That is called the pulse amplitude modulation. And there is a QAM modulation. There are so many modulation schemes. And we have around 50 modulation scheme or more than that. Now the question is that at the receiver, we have to understand what modulation scheme has been used at the transmitter. Because nowadays, transmitter and receiver are adaptive. It can be Bluetooth, it can be Wi-Fi. And also, different time, the data rate can be different. Let's say the raining is started. So you cannot transmit more data rate because channel is disturbance, right? But night, the climate environment is very good. Your channel is very good. No noise much. So you can transmit high data rate signals. So then, low signals, low data rate, you use different kind of modulation scheme. For high data rate, you use another kind of modulation scheme. So now, to identify such kind of modulation scheme, people before used only that CNN model, but accuracy was 50 to 60% because there are so many other variations there in the channel. So we didn't get. Now what I said, there is a LSTM. LSTM is a very nice approach for the people use mainly for the text prediction. You know, Google, we write, I'll be going to, they tell that based on your not much. People are looking only for this, what is called computer vision, speech processing, all these things. But why it could not be applicable for every field? Yeah, we have to understand the problem first.
Thank you so much, sir, for your nice talk and inspiring us to do research in AI/ML for communication systems. So now I request Dr. Anur Kumar Mishra to felicitate Dr. Sudhan Maji, sir.
Sir, now we have to go to the communication.
Thank you so much. Now we'll have the tracks, individual tracks.
Okay, I'll do it.
Please start the tracks accordingly.
Okay.
Thank you.
Please join the tracks. After that, we have to tell.
Okay. Please join the tracks, and after that we have a lunch break coming up next.
But I have my flight at 4:30.
And track 1B signal processing is happening on.
Okay, it will take 1 hour from your max.
But after that, there is no timing, no need to much time in the airport.
No, it's small airport, so it won't be very big.
Join the session, and after that we'll wait for the lunch. Thank you.
Thank you.